collecting, breaking, and burning in this order. And then we design the map of the level and where actually every job will happen. Yeah, and this is part of our iterations of the design. We did lots of iteration until we achieved the final result we were happy with. Go ahead. And yeah, now you can play. This is a short video, very, very, very short video from the VR. We just finished developing today. And yeah, so this is Kofi, and he's taking the wheelbarrow.
Start moving, Kojo. These scraps hide good metals.
So we need
this is where our money is.
We need to collect the scraps and put them and put them in this wheelbarrow in order to break them later. Okay, now for the market shop. The fabric shop. So we wanted to design this shop based on shops in Accra, in Medina Market. So we went to Medina Market and we did this location scouting. We went into the store. We took lots of references to understand how the fabrics are organized, what type of textures they have, and how these shops look like. And then we did some interviews because we wanted Nana will be a girl that's working in this shop. So we wanted to speak to ladies that work there to understand their life, their dreams, anything we can learn about them. And third, we went to Prestige Kente, which is next to Leti Arts, to learn more about the weaving of the fabrics, which we also wanted to be part of the experience. Yes. And so, yeah, here you can see the process of creating this environment. It was, as I said, very, very complicated, but I'm happy with what we achieved. Yeah, this is the final environment. And you can see all the textures that we used for the fabric. And here is Nana, but she is a character she's just standing here. So we want to animate her. And we want to animate her based on a real actor. So we worked with actors, and she is acting Nana, and you can play it.
These ones, they are the original GTP, very high quality, all the way from Kumasi. So in Kumasi for Kojo.
Yeah, and then we took this video and we implemented on the real character. Yeah, this was our first try. We were so happy to see it working. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so now you will see it in VR.
But in the meantime, please help me with this ones, okay? I already stacked 50 pieces over there, so you can just add these ones to it. My very strong Kojo.
Yeah, okay, and for the nightmare scene, we decided we will have Anansi, which will be the character but telling us that something wrong is happening. So this is the design based on these references, and we will show also a glimpse of him.
See the web of destruction you've made, small boy. You think you are free? Oh no. There are consequences for your actions.
Yeah, and the last part of this experience will be a gallery, the reflective space where you can learn about the topic and also what can be done and what already be done in Ghana, because there are some organizations dealing with waste and e-waste, and we want to show them. So we have Macintosh Africa, Mago Gallery, and GEM. They will be presented, and we are open for more collaborations. You're welcome to contact me or Letty to be part of this gallery and to actually do a change. So it's not just about raising awareness, but also about doing something about that. So this is how we imagine this gallery look like. We will have this map I showed you. We will have an X-ray where you can take the virtual phone and see what type of metal it's made out of to understand the importance of these metals, why we are working so hard to get them. Also, the testimonials, the interviews will be presented there, and the organizations I showed you. And only if you agree, I will show a feedback. Okay, yeah, so this is a really nice lady. She was here yesterday, and she really liked the experience. So I want you to show the first feedback we got. I was very happy.
Wow. I didn't know what to expect, really. I mean, I've had other VR experiences since yesterday, but this one is kind of like really exceptional. It takes you into the world. You're like part of the story. It's immersive. You're engaging with the content as though it feels like you're the content creator, and then you're expressing the content as well at the same time. And it's like you get to experience firsthand what the people are experiencing, and you're not just experiencing, you're creating it with them.
Okay, thank you. So we have an impact plan to enhance empathy, put it into high school education, museums, and this is aligned also with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the good health and well-being, decent work, responsible consumption, and climate action. And so for distribution, we're also thinking about, as I said, education, climate, conferences, big tech and consumers, pop-up events in tech, high-tech companies. So there are lots of options to spread this idea and experience. We want people to see it. We don't just want to do art, we want to make a change. And so thank you for all the team that work on this very, very complicated project. It was not easy at all. They did a very amazing job. They didn't sleep for nights. And I'm grateful for your dedication. And thank you, Aram, for working with me. And yes, so that's it. You are welcome to ask questions and also, of course, to see the experience. It's presented in the VR showcase, the VR room over there. Thank you so much.
Let's do it better for the lady called No Far, but she's come from very far, Israel, all the way from Israel. Thank you so much. I like the way you say Agbogbuloshi. No, but you said it well. Multiple times. I was marking. Agbogbuloshi. Wow, the storytelling is very powerful. One thing that stood out for me was when the character looked into Nana's eyes and he just felt like burning something. Be careful whose eyes you are looking into. Anyway, more seriously, let's take care of our environment. Let's protect our environment. That's what sustains us. And so it's important that we take care of it so that it also takes care of us. 2025 Novembre Numerique, Accra. This is the debut of this festival that started in France, in Ghana. And we are happy to be hosted by Alliance Francaise, Accra, and also the other half of the organizers, Letty Arts. Thank you so much for this experience. We'll have a representative or the very ambassador from France with us who will be given a tour, and that's for later. So I'm giving you the heads up. We'll receive the ambassador from the French embassy or a representative who will be taking on a tour to see all the exhibitions that we have here. But as we carry on, in the meantime, Dobison XR will be next with their presentation. Dobison XR. And we will be receiving the presentation from a Ghanaian who goes by the name Selassie Awiti. Selassie. All right, let's hear it better for Selassie, please. Yeah, give it to him. He says give it to him, so please give it to him. Selassie, here you go.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to present my company and our project, Experience Africa. So, yeah, technology. Okay. Slideshow. Great. So I'm here to talk about our project and how we are using virtual reality to tell stories about African identity and cultural travel, right? So a little bit about our company before we delve into the project. Dobison is Ghana's leading immersive media company. We've been working since 2018. We've worked across various industries like real estate, entertainment, gaming, enterprise, and most importantly for us, culture and heritage, right? And we basically help organizations to turn audience attention into intention. And for the past, 7 years, we've been doing this for other organizations. And somewhere in the middle, we decided to turn our focus to the cultural heritage space. So because before we entered culture and heritage, we were already digitizing spaces, African spaces. We wanted to turn our attention to Ghanaian culture. And we started working with the Ghana Tourism Authority on a pilot basis, like looking at the most important cultural sites to work on. And I remember we used to call it 360 Africa, right? It was just a virtual tour platform. But over time, as the collaboration continued, we realized that we had to evolve, right? We moved from 360 Ghana and we became 360 Africa when we started adding other countries to the platform. Back. But then we decided that it was time to also evolve again and not just using 360 photos, but also combining VR storytelling, 3D environments, and AI narration to provide an engaging cultural experience that people can, access Africa from anywhere in the world. So what is our vision? Our vision is to reimagine how the world experiences Africa remotely, right? We know that the best experience of Africa is being here in person, but we also know that there are billions of people who cannot make it onto the continent. And how do we take advantage of technology to give these people the most realistic experience as possible? And we came up with Experience Africa. And it's an immersive VR platform dedicated to documenting and promoting our living and non-living heritage. I want to create emotional connections between people and African places, right? I think that is one of the most important features of virtual reality, to be able to create that connection, to be able to make people feel present when they are not actually there. And this is what we want to take advantage of. So when we evolved 360 Africa to Experience Africa, we were lucky enough to have the support of the AFD through the Creative Afrique program. And we also had the partnership of the Ghana Tourism Authority and the Agency for Culture Development in Benin. So this really gave us the kind of support that we needed to do full documentation across these two countries. As a starter, while our final focus is capturing the entirety of West Africa. And beyond our partners, we also had creative partners who helped bring this vision to life. We had the 3D designer from Bannerman Studios, which is Arnold Bannerman. And we also have Kwabena Kisiedu from the Anthracite Limited, who is sitting at the back there. And he helped us bring to life the Ashanti Kingdom as we wanted people to experience it. So let's talk a bit about our journey. Like I mentioned, the aim was to travel through Ghana and Benin, documenting and capturing spaces and places of cultural importance, right? And very key to this was filming in 11K stereoscopic video, right? Because this is the highest, or one of the highest immersive format resolutions available. And I'm glad to say that through the support of the AFD, we acquired the Insta360 Titan camera. And it is, as far as I'm concerned, the only Titan camera in West Africa. Right, and from the door of no return, both in Ghana and Benin, the Stilt Village, Gamvi, to Christian Castle, we're able to document all of these important spaces in that immersive video quality that is high resolution and will make people feel the most immersed. So in the end, at the end of the filming schedule, we were able to capture over 40 different cultural sites and festivals across these two countries. And our aim is to double this next year. Key locations include the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, Elmina Castle, the Snake Village. For those who don't know of the Snake Village in the Volta region, it's a place where you get to immerse yourself in different kinds of snakes that should not bite you, right? But most important for me was my experience in Benin, right? Traveling to Benin, I realized the kind of relationship that we have with our not so close neighbors, right? I'm Ewe, and I go there and they speak a version of Ewe. Right? And this shows how we've been separated by borders. And really through this, we're able to be, for example, like I said, we have a door of no return in Benin. We have the same in Ghana. We have a stilt village called Gamvi Village in Benin. We have the same one in Ghana as well. And you get to realize there's similarities between African countries, especially in West Africa, that we take for granted. And this is one of the key features on our platform that we want people to experience in high resolution. So the previous slide was talking about experiencing present-day Africa. But we also wanted people to experience what Africa was like in the past and make it as accurate as possible. And we're lucky to have the talented Kwabena and also Arnold Bannerman to help us bring all of these to life. We did a lot of visits, a lot of 3D scans. We did a lot of visits to the Kumasi Museum, the remaining shrines. We scanned all of these artifacts and brought them to life. And so, as you can see here, we ended up modeling about 20 different versions of Ashanti homes from back in the day. One of the key things that we learned was, or that people don't know, was back in the day we had toilets. The Ashanti Kingdom had functioning toilets when it's claimed the British did not know how toilets worked, right? And that is one of the key things. Another thing was also how well made our buildings were and how well maintained. In fact, when we showcase these buildings to people, our project to people, they don't believe that this is how it was. And that is one of the, I think, the most important things for us is changing people's perception of our history. You know, we weren't living in rundown mud buildings and stuff. We had story buildings and everything, right? We had functioning toilets. We had very fine gold ornaments that we're making. We were making beautiful music. And we try to represent this, our culture, our heritage, through these 3D environment. So first we had the sculpting of the kingdom, and then we also brought the people to life. We modeled different characters, both male and female. Unfortunately, I have just the male here, but it was gender balanced. From the priests to the commoners, to the soldiers, to the chiefs. We modeled all of these people and also created scenes, right? Now, the history of this, what you're looking at right now is our retelling of the Conjuring of the Golden Stool, right? Because that was also a story that hasn't been brought to life in an immersive format that we want people to really experience like they're standing there themselves. So this is one of the scenes that Arnold worked on. This is where they are presenting some goal to achieve, and on the right side, you have Okonfanoche advising Osei on the plans to take to build a gold, to come up with a golden stool and then create their kingdom. So I would say that it wasn't an easy process putting all of this together, all these different forms of media, trying to create one platform that you can experience all of this. And a lot of technology went into this. When we talk about the 360 capture on the ground, I mentioned the Insta360 Titan camera. From the air, we also use the DJI drone, and to capture stereoscopic immersive sound, we use the Zoom microphone. In post-production as well, we work with Stitcher, we work with Premiere Pro and Mocha VR. These different softwares might not be familiar to those who don't do immersive video, but these are some of the leading softwares for creating immersive experiences. As well, we used Blender, Unity, Unreal, and Character Creator to bring our 3D environments to life. And lastly, to augment our voice-over generation in French and English, we used AI, leveraging 11 Labs and ChatGPT, right? And in the end, we ended up with this platform, a bilingual platform that allows people to experience Africa immersively. So, so we're just going to play the trailer for everyone to have a look at, and I delve deeper. Let's see. Yeah, some fire visuals. So now let's look at the different sections of Experience Africa. I think I spoke a little bit about it in the previous slides, but to delve in the start, at the beginning, you are thrown into a virtual museum. Now, this virtual museum has artifacts from across Africa that you can interact with, pick up. You have the AI telling you more about it. And not only that, you are able to actually pick up different artifacts from different kingdoms, different eras, and do a comparison of them, analyze where the similarities are, find the unique thread that connects all of us as a continent, right? And so the virtual museum with your AI guide, so that you don't have to go to these. You talk about artifacts that are locked up in museums outside the continent. You can't interact with them. Even if you go to the museum, you can't even pick it up and look at it, look around and stuff. We want to use this as a tool for people to fully interact with our culture and our heritage, our artifacts. The next thing in the experience is the map, and this is the map of Africa as we all know it. But what is special about our map is that any country you point at and select, starting with Ghana, Benin, Kenya, and Ivory Coast, you get access to different types of live action immersive 360 video from different categories. Not only that, like I mentioned before, we want you to be able to experience Africa like it was in the past. So we have the timeline that allows you to go as far back as, we didn't want to go too far, so just starting at the AD period. Once you'll be able to see how Africa as a continent transformed, the different groups, the different people, the different kingdoms that came as time came and went. Then the next section is the content, the immersive content. Now, for starters, we've broken down the content library into culture and history, nature, and music. We all know that music is a very important part of African heritage and African lifestyle. So, from the culture and history section, you can experience places like the Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum, the Cape Coast Castle, the Besiase Shrine, all places, and even also in Benin, we're talking about some of these voodoo shrines, voodoo temples, and all of that. You can immerse yourself without having to travel all the way to Benin to see it. I know some people are very scared of voodoo and stuff. It's a very safe way of experiencing the voodoo culture. And just to note, when I was in Ghana, the whole time in Ghana, they were telling me that Inzulezu is the greatest village on stilts and stuff. But when I went to Ganvi, it's like a whole country on stilts. It's that large. And it was really amazing, like, getting there and seeing these kids on the canoes, like, giving us a whole performance. And you can go and watch the performance in Experience Africa at our stand. Next slide. Oh, he told me not to say that. Okay, now looking back at the past, we decided to start from home. And we focused on the Ashanti Kingdom, the Ashanti Empire, which is, I would say, arguably like the greatest empire to come from present-day Ghana. And we are giving viewers two options. The first one is the ability to walk through Kumasi like it was in the 1800s, to interact with the people, see the buildings, see the way of life as it played out back in those times. And secondly, we also want people to envision and relive the conjuring of the golden stool, seeing as it is a very important and critical moment in the forming of the Ashanti Empire. Right. Next. So after all this hard work over 3 years or so, the next thing was, how do we get this out into the world? Right. And for us, one of the most important things was having physical experience spaces. Places where people pass through and are able to, cultural places where people are able to pass through and able to have time to actually immerse themselves in the content that we create. And we're excited that the first home was Alliance Francaise Letty Art VR Center. And the aim is that this month, Experience Africa will be available for people to experience once they come to Alliance Francaise. And it's not only in Alliance Francaise is our first, but definitely not our last in Ghana. We're also exploring, we're also going, following up with our partnership with the Ghana Tourism Authority to also bring Experience Africa to the various museums and large cultural spaces that are run by the government. Now, our second home, which is Benin, we are also partnering with Wadada Benin, which is one of the leading cultural institutions in Benin, to also showcase Experience Africa in their spaces as well. And these two are the first of many experience centers that we hope to have across the African continent. Also, we have a partnership with Redbox VR, and they are one of the leading global VR distribution companies, VR kit distribution companies. And we are working with them to, one, expand headset distribution in Ghanaian schools, hopefully targeting West Africa as well, and also bringing Experience Africa to their platform to enable global access across board. As well, I met Agatha last 2 weeks in Lagos, and we began discussions on how we can also bring Experience Africa to their platform to enable distribution through international exhibitions, museums, and showcases across Europe. Yeah. So, you know, all this time we've been doing VR, we definitely know some of the limitations when it comes to VR. We know that to have large group experiences, you need a lot of headsets. And we also know that a lot of people don't have the necessary experience to use VR to its advanced degree. We're looking for easier ways of people to experience our content without them having to deal with new technology. So our next phase is looking at having domes where people can also experience Africa without the technological roadblock, and looking at experiences where we can have the same number of people we have here in a dome, like experiencing Ganvi Village, Elmina Castle, or what have you. And this, we aim it for it to be mobile and accessible to a wider group of people, not just in Ghana, but we hope to be able to travel across with our domes across West Africa and showcase it. Unfortunately, Ghana doesn't have a dome. The last I checked, the planetarium was taken down. The closest dome is in Nigeria, I think, in a university, and I kind of feel like that's not fair. You know, we need more accessibility. We need more of these domes to enable people to experience what Africa has to offer. But it goes beyond just building an app and telling African stories. When I started Dobison in 2018, one of the key things I realized was that there weren't a lot of VR developers. There weren't a lot of immersive content creators. And even if they weren't up to the professional standard and level that was required on a global stage. So one of our aims as well was also to build a team that is well-versed and well-trained in creating world-class immersive content. So ultimately, that is what our goal is. Beyond just building these various immersive experiences in VR, even outside of culture and heritage, we also want to build an ecosystem of creatives, developers, and storytellers who are able to utilize virtual reality and all the technologies that come with it to the fullest potential. So we finally come to the end of the deck, and I'll end by saying that if anything I said on the deck interested you in any way, kindly join us to expand on our vision. We're looking for partnerships to host more installations, more spaces like the Letty Arts VR Center, and creating new content, new journeys, and experiences so that we can make African content accessible globally to anyone, everywhere. Thank you.
Selassie, thank you so much. Selassie Aweti with Dobison XR. That was a beautiful presentation. And I like how I don't have money, I don't have time, I don't like to read. All these excuses have been canceled out. From this presentation, you can go anywhere in the world. You can go anywhere in the world. You could be resting in your room and be in an Egyptian museum, right? Yes, and I like that you could pick up the artifacts and also learn about the similarities, as you said, and see the features that are shared or were shared, you know, between artists and artifacts back in the day. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. There is more presentation on the way. We'll hear from Keepers XR. We'll hear from B Bridges Interactive and Diversion Cinema as we carry on. But now we'll take a presentation from Black Rhino VR. Black Rhino VR. And that's my man, Brian Afande. Welcome, bro.
Thank you, bro. Good evening. Sorry, Ghana, good evening. Good. Let me teach you guys something in Swahili, right? When I say habari ya jioni, it means good evening. You say mzuri sana. It means thank you or thank you very much, right? So let's go. Habari ya jioni? Good. Now, I just had to feel like I'm back home. Also, not just because you guys are strangers, but because I feel grounded when I have something that reminds me of home, which is, in this case, my language. Here, you guys are cool at the back. my wife is a teacher, and I have 20 minutes here. So I'm going to set up my timer. Guys, I'm not trying to mess around with your time. As they pull up my deck, just hold on. Good. Perfect. Could you please go to slideshow? Yeah, the slideshow. Hey. Yo, there's a guy who needs coffee. I'm buying coffee. Thank you. He got it and didn't get it. Okay. No, it's cool. I love it. So guys, my name is Brian Afande. I come from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm going to explain what I do for a living. But I want to introduce you to my project, which is what we call a POC. It's a proof of concept. We're still working around the project itself. And the idea behind the project is really how do we preserve Kenya's material culture, leveraging on what you call spatial computing. Now, because I teach a lot about spatial technologies and extended reality technologies, I feel like it's important to also let you guys know what this stuff is so that we don't sound like douchebags, right? So spatial computing is really a fancy word for meaning phygital, where I can be able to have physical and digital images seamlessly combined into a unified experience. So that's more or less spatial computing, right? Don't be in a hurry, man. Don't be in a hurry. So my project is really called Echoes of the Ancestors. The idea behind the project is how do we document material culture for preservation. And when you look at one of the challenges we have, first, culture can be looked at as material culture, which is now artifacts, masks, and the rest of the stuff. And then you have intangible culture, which is like your music, etc. So we're focusing around material culture. So I stand here today because I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Black Rhino VR. We are based in Nairobi. And what Black Rhino VR does is really build what exactly you've seen everybody else showcase. We build from games to immersive experiences, but we like to say we are an award-winning extended reality innovation hub because we are all self-taught. I've hired most of the people in my company and none of them came with a CV. None of them, because where we are going is uncharted waters. You just need to have the right attitude. So because we don't think in a linear way and it's very exponential, we've been able to win hundreds of, not hundreds, I wish, say amen. Amen, yes. I'm speaking life into my business. So we've been able to win awards based on the work that we do. Next slide, please. So I want to say something. This project is really close to my heart because my CFO doesn't like this project, period. Because it's cost us a lot of money. But because I believe in the project, I just wanted to talk about what it means to believe in something. So when you, just the slide back again, me without the beanie, thank you. So my professional background is in marketing and music. And I've been a DJ for very many years. So I had a deal with my board. I told them, as long as I can run the company, I've run the company for 10 years. As long as I can run the company, please allow me to keep on DJing. Because me without music is like a ninja without his sword. I can never be a good leader if I don't have the thing that inspires me the most, which is music. So when you come to Nairobi, a lot of people know me as DJ Mr. French because I've played on radio, I've played on TV. So when you come and you say, Brian, you're going to be lost, it's the most common name ever. But when you say DJ Mr. French, there's only one DJ Mr. French. And no, I don't speak French for the sake of Alliance Francaise. Next slide, please. So, a bit of background on this project. This project itself uses what you call LiDAR technology. Again, as a person who wants us to be on the same frequency, they say communication is just not binaries, ones and zeros. We need to oscillate on the same frequency. So our project itself is really about documenting material culture. Selassie clearly articulated that you go into this space and you see artifacts. What if I told Selassie he would actually go into an open source platform and be able to download these artifacts? because other young people have been able to build this whole mechanic, this whole content, using tools that we can access, which is a mobile phone. And I'm going to explain that. So my project uses what you call LiDAR technology and artificial intelligence to document material culture. But in this case, we're using a platform. The idea is to build our own platform that we can be able to showcase all this content that people can be able to download. But there's a whole monetization model based on it. So this is really the project background. But I want to tell you guys something. Fundamentally, we're in the 4th Industrial Revolution. That will change everything you know. It might sound like Greek on this other side of the fence, but I want to tell you right now, the sooner you understand that these technologies will ultimately change the way we live, the better it is for you to adapt to these technologies. So arguably, we're in the 4th Industrial Revolution. It's going to fundamentally change the way we work, the way we consume content, the way we distribute, in scale, complexity, and scope. Now, our response has to be very integrated, as Africans more so, because these technologies are enablers and not disablers, right? So because we're in this 4th Industrial Revolution, it's very important for you to understand that these technologies can be harnessed for good or also for sinister motives, right? So what we do as Black Rhino is we kind of try to use these technologies for good and building solutions around. She's so cute, bro. You know, as a parent, I miss my kids, but anyway, let me not digress. So we use these technologies and try to harness them for good, right? Next slide, please. So this project is a partnership between Black Rhino VR and an organization called Santuri. Santuri is, they're actually my neighbors in my lab. Santuri is what you call a music innovation hub. They do a lot of work around music. They have East Africa's first musical symposium, where people meet once a year, showcase content, build solutions. They have something called a Music Makers Lab, where we build instruments from scratch. So Santuri is the forefront it's avant-garde at creating music innovation. But also within Santuri, they have something called SEMA, which is a Santuri Electronic Music Academy. They don't only teach DJing, but they teach production, all the way from how you can be able to build your beats, how you can be able to go into the studio, how you can be able to also distribute your content. So this project is a partnership between my organization and Santuri. Next slide, please. So the genesis of this technology, as I mentioned before, is a proof of concept. And the proof of concept is, for us, ultimately, we want it to scale. But how do we scale something that we've never built? So I convinced my CFO to give me $20,000 to be able to acquire a machine that was going to do this. We went through a whole haggle, we went through everything, but I was able to get the money to actually invest into this, because I believe as an organization, so in Kenya we say some people are so poor because all they have is money. My problem is not that. My problem is I want to do something that allows me to also sleep well, especially as someone who's running the company. And one of the things is really building technology that is accessible. So I started an R&D department in my organization, and the R&D department looks at how we can be able to create technology at a very scalable way, even if it means for me to burn through $20,000. I'm going to explain what that bridge is. Next slide, please. So our focus, because material culture is wide and everything in between is huge. So we decided to focus on music material culture as our proof of concept. And after documenting music culture, we can also now transition to other forms of material culture. And in this case, we decided to pilot this in western part of Kenya. Of course, that's where I'm from. For obvious reasons, I wanted to pilot it so that also my ancestors can be proud of me right now. There are certain blessings that comes with the ancestors. So for me to appease my ancestors, I wanted to create a solution that would document this culture. Now, I want you guys to understand something. As much as digital technology keeps on evolving, it also creates a digital divide. And access is one of the biggest challenges. So as much as we are growing, we are also creating this gap that exists where people are not able to afford or access digital technology. So what we did is we wanted to focus our whole entire project on tools that can be accessible to individuals so that they can be able to document. My work cannot be protracted across the whole of Nairobi. But if I'm able, our motto is each one, reach one, teach one. So each and every person that we teach, we have to make sure that the guidelines that we've created, the manuals that we've created, they're going to be able, from a pedagogical approach, they're going to be able to also teach another person. So this is really a revolution in happening. I'm happy my CFO is not here. This is a machine we acquired for about 20K USD. So what this machine does is, when you're trying to document material culture, one of the biggest challenges is lighting. You need to get even lighting. And we didn't want to go through the route of setting up a big studio where we can be able to have different sort of lighting. We wanted to have a fully automated lighting system that can allow us to put material culture, in this case music culture, inside the machine. But what this machine also does, it works together with what you call a LiDAR scanner, right? So what the LiDAR scanner does, it's what you call a volumetric capture scanner. So your normal DSLR camera will get what you call linear 2D information. DSLR scanners or DSLR cameras get what you call volumetric data. And this volumetric metadata, when you put in a gaming engine, you have all these polygons, you have all this point cloud information that you can be able to manipulate. So we acquired this machine, and this was primarily for R&D purposes, where we can be able to see if it's a sustainable business model on our project itself. So next slide, please. Here's a video of my team working with the machine on how we can be able to just create these 3D models, and I'll explain why we actually do that. So please play the video. So as you can see, you'll see later on, this is actually a traditional instrument that we've put inside the machine. And my guys are currently now trying to scan the machine in full 360. That jog under actually moves in full 360, but we also wanted to test how fluid we could be able to pick up this material culture. So this is just my team playing around in our XR lab and trying to figure out how best we can be able to digitize this content itself. No, don't worry, there's no sound. You're not messing up, there's no sound. Next slide, please. So we experienced some challenges. First, there was the financial challenge. We've just invested X amount of money into a machine that is not making sense. If I wanted to democratize access to these tools, not many people can be able to afford that, right? So we decided to leverage artificial intelligence on how we can use your traditional cameras, phone cameras, to build this 3D data. So we leveraged on a platform. We didn't build a platform, full disclosure. It's a Chinese platform. After working for many hours, we realized that yes, it's a Chinese platform. So there are no French platforms, FYI. Relax. So it's a Chinese platform that we discovered. And we wanted to create tools that other people can be able to access. So this platform allows you to take a picture of objects in different what we call overlaps, with an 80% overlap through the documentation process, and it automatically builds a 3D model based on you taking pictures itself. So because we wanted to create a solution that is highly decentralized, can be accessed by people, can be democratized, but at the end of the day, a system that is scalable, that people can be able to access anywhere, and it's mobile. And for us, Africa, to be honest with you, the mobile phone has led to social, economic impact. It's just not something that we use for looking pretty on Instagram, etc. The mobile phone is really a device that has led to liberation. So that's why the images that you see right now are actually volumetric images that were created by mobile phones, and these tools are going to be used in a central repository. So next slide, please. So these are some of the project assets. For those of you who know 3D information, you can see from the wireframe render to a diffuse render. Now, I must say something. Before these sort of assets are integrated into gaming engines or what Selassie is doing, they have to be optimized. And optimization means that so this content is very dense. By the time you're using a mobile phone to scan this content, it's very dense, and it has also unnecessary information. So it needs to go through a cleaning process for it to be able to be optimized, so that after optimization, it actually goes into an engine that you can able to use on anything. And sustainability for us is so important, because how do you create a commercial model based on individuals just collecting material culture? So I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like. Next slide, please. This is also another traditional drum that goes through the same mechanic from getting point cloud metadata to diffused renders. So I want to show you the outcome of what we actually created on using a mobile phone as a scanner and artificial intelligence. Please click on play. That's the model. I mean, you can be able to scale it up, you can be able to scale down, you can be able to rotate it in full 360. As you can see with the lighting, it's a true representation of a 3D model. And like I said before, lighting is really key when it comes to documenting this sort of information. Whoop, 15 minutes are over, my God. So I have 5 minutes. And you can see on my right side, this is the mesh data, which has to be cleaned up for it to make absolute sense. But it's still dense information that we have to clean up. But I want to understand something. It's not a $20,000 system that is doing this. It's a mobile phone that is actually doing this. And the idea here is to make sure that young people can use their mobile phones to pick up all this volumetric data, whether or not it's material culture, it's your shields, it's your spears, it's your pictures, it's your paintings. We have to democratize access to this because what we want to do is to also enable these young people to be able to express themselves using digital tools and to also create a time capsule for some of their material culture. Ladies and gentlemen, these time capsules do not exist. Right now, when you're looking at the journey of music, a lot of individuals don't even know how to play traditional instruments. And it's true. We've become so gentrified, we've become so used to using the normal tools that we use. And the problem is we're really erasing, there's a culture that is being erased. So this is the danger of digital technologies as well. So my thing is always, if not now, when? If not us, who? So this is the right time to harness these tools, to be able to transfer this knowledge for young people to be able to document. And this whole experience is really by a mobile phone. Next, please. So apart from documenting volumetric data, which we all now understand what volumetric data is, it's also non-spatial data. And what is non-spatial data? Me, without understanding the context of these traditional artifacts, does not make sense. Where did this artifact come from? Which communities are using this artifact? How are they playing? Is there a curriculum that has been built for people to understand how they can be able to play this instrument? So this non-spatial information is so important for it to be complementary to the artifacts themselves, because without this, you don't really understand the rich ecosystems of where this material culture comes from. So together with our partners in Santuri, they are documenting this sort of non-spatial information. They do interviews, they go out to communities come into the studio, they build the curriculums around this, how these musical instruments can be played. Next slide, please. Our goals are very simple. Number one, to digitally archive music material culture using artificial intelligence and spatial technologies itself, and also to document intangible culture. But we also want to raise awareness around advocacy, especially around material restitution. We all know, for those of you who don't know restitution, most of our artifacts are not residing in our museums. A lot of these artifacts are being held in different museums in Europe and other places. So it's very important. Our project raises awareness around material restitution, because if we are not documenting and preserving our own culture, and we are not trying to get our culture that is residing out of Africa back into the continent, then we don't have a cultural reference point. So we're using this project as echoes of the ancestors to create advocacy around material culture. Of course, support innovation in the creative industries. This is, of course, key to what we do. How can we pivot? I call myself a creative technologist because I'm able to look at technology. I'm able to harness certain tools in a highly creative way. And looking at that, we need to be able to see how young people can also become creative technologists and harness these tools to extend what they are thinking, to extend and create solutions around their daily lives. Of course, promote sustainable preservation practices. So at the end of the day, what does sustainability look like? Let me break it down real easy. Sustainability looks like this. Dobison are creating an XR experience where they're using artifacts. There is an individual who actually went and shot these artifacts, right? And they put him in this open source repository. For Dobison to be able to access those artifacts, they need to get into the open source platform and get these artifacts based on the certain terms and conditions of the person who created these artifacts. Because remember, at the end of the day, this digital technology does not help us if we cannot earn a living from it. So Dobison go to this platform. They are contributors and aggregators as well, but it's an ecosystem of communities of people building all these artifacts, and other people can be able to access. There are some of them that are going to be royalty-free, depending on what you want as royalty-free, depending on how heavy the file itself is. And some of them, if you're going to commercialize the use of these artifacts, for instance, again, going back to Dobison's amazing work, you can see all these artifacts. They could be used for gaming, they could be used for museums, etc. So this is a sustainable sort of preservation practices that we are looking at. Next slide, please. Next steps for us is, number one, is to build an open source platform that will allow individuals across Africa to be able to build and access all these music artifacts. Number two is to continue developing our internal R&D, even though my CFO hates it. The idea is to really continue building R&D because discovery is everything. If I don't discover how to realign a different pipeline, a different workflow, then what am I doing as a segment leader in my segment? So the idea here is to really emphasize on internal R&D as an organization and to develop a user guide and manual. It's not a lot of people. It might seem like rocket science, but it's really not rocket science. So our work is to really document in terms of user guides and manuals that other young people can go on the open source platform, download the user manuals, and they could create their own material culture, put it back on the platform for other people to be able to access. That's it. I already spoke about sustainable business models on the platform. Next slide, please. I think that's the end. I just want to say something before I tell you what Asante Sana is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important for us to understand that these digital technologies, as I mentioned before, are really going to change our lives, and they're accessible. For the first time within the continent, we have a plethora of content going around. You would attest to it for the first time Leti started. These guys were like, there was no one doing what they were doing 15 years ago. But now, from Nigeria to Cape Town to Kenya to North Africa, young people are harnessing these digital tools to earn a living. I want to tell you a bit about my story. I'm orphaned from the streets, really orphaned from the streets. And without digital technology and music, I'd have been right now either shot, I'd have been like, and I lost friends based on that. And I want to tell you right now that don't think that it doesn't apply to you. It applies to each and every person here. The sooner you understand it, the better it is for you. So my work is really to be an evangelist around not just extended reality technologies, but digital technologies itself, because we can harness these tools as a tool for liberation and not just as a tool to have fun. At the end of the day, I remember from the speech that you gave, Aram, that you said the past 15 years of your work was around building an ecosystem. And now it's around commercial exploitation. You have to make money as an individual. And the thing is that a lot of you have young people at home. Even though you all seem young, I'm not trying to hate on nobody here, by the way. But the idea is that deep inside you have someone who's young somewhere, who's looking up to Leti Arts, who's looking up to Dobison and other organizations. Give these young people a chance. Because if someone like me can take a flight from Kenya, thanks to you guys, and come here and have this conversation, and not just conversation, amalgamations and partnerships. So I'm very grateful for your time. And what Asante Sana means in my language, it means thank you so much. So enjoy your evening.
Wow. Brian Afande of Black Rhino VR. The only thing Brian didn't do was lay hands on us and pray for us. Did you feel the fervor? Like, he has this pastoral fervor. Anyway, Brian, thank you so much. 2025 Novembre Numerique, Accra. lords and ladies, and we are live on YouTube. So if you have a loved one who couldn't join us because of the rains, for instance, you could share the link with your loved one and they can experience what's happening here. What's the point of celebrating digital culture if we cannot beam this outside of this venue, right? And so for your convenience and that of those who are not presently here with us, you can look for Alliance Francaise Accra on YouTube and share the link with them. There is another presentation that we'll take, and it's one of 3 left for us to experience. These are digital demonstrations that we are enjoying right now. We would call on Emmanuel Rukundo. Emmanuel Rukundo. Is Emmanuel here? Emmanuel Rukundo. All right, Emmanuel Rukundo is coming up, and he is with Keepers XR. Keepers XR. If we don't do it better for him, he's not going to give us the demonstration. That's what he's told me. All right. I've been asked to have you guys come to this end. Emmanuel, blessing. Please bring him to this side. The media team is asking that they come to this end. Not too close to this one, but hey, my hat. I was like, is that lectern that heavy? Anyway. All right. So we've been to Kenya with Brian. Emmanuel is from Uganda. Uganda. Are we happy? Yeah, we've had an Israeli, we've had a Kenyan, now a Ugandan. Emmanuel, thank you. Speak to us.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Rukundo from Uganda, and also a co-founder of Keepers XR. Keepers XR is a pioneering studio in Uganda, and thank you to Alliance Francaise and Leti Arts for inviting us to be here and share our work. 2 years ago, I was at Creation Africa pitching this film as an idea and being inspired by people like Brian, and I'm so honored to how far we have come. And now I'm sharing my work on the same stage with him. So Keepers XR also was founded last year. So we are a very, very young studio. And in 1 year, we've been able to get an accolade from the XR Awards. We've also been invited to New Images. We were selected for the New Images distribution market where we met Leti Arts. And we're talking about working together as African creators, and now we're here. So we're really so honored and humbled to have grown this far. And to those young people getting into the industry, we are proof that the industry is, there are very many people willing to help. They are very generous people and that will guide you and support you along the way. So I'm going to share about Keepers of the Forest, the Batwa Legacy, an immersive film we made. At Keepers XR, we create immersive worlds that reimagine archives as living ecosystems. Sorry, my presentation got a hiccup, so I'll share from my notes. Our work sits at the intersection of art, technology, culture, and futures. We're using XR for storytelling, research, and cultural restitution. Right, so Keepers of the Forest, the Batwa Legacy is an immersive journey into the living world of the Batwa people. And the Batwa people originate from Uganda, around the border between DRC, Congo, and Uganda. And they lived in this ancient forest called Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, which is home to half of the world's mountain gorillas. And this is my home where I come from. So I was inspired to tell this story. It's also a tourist haven. There's a video that the team will play that will just give you a feel of the area. It's a tourist haven. It's a very beautiful place. And when I was inspired to tell this story, and we we went to the location. We went to film in this forest. And we've learned so much since we started this project. So the Bwindi and Virunga ranges, it has about 7 mountain ranges with this forest in it. Is a world to half of the world's gorillas. And so when we journeyed to document the Batwa, they lived a very interesting lifestyle. It might look primitive. This is Kisoro, this is my home, and I invite you all to come sometime. So the Batwa lived a very interesting indigenous lifestyle, and they relied on everything from the forest. I'll share the slide, and we can maybe go through the pictures. So yes, the Batwa, let's go down. Page 2. Yes, so the Batwa, as you can see from this picture, this is a picture of a Batwa man. They lived in a very interesting indigenous lifestyle in the forest. They depended on the forest for everything, for clothing. They made everything they wore from plants. They also, they built houses in trees, but these trees were also beehives and they were also burial grounds. And they also got everything like medicine and herbs from the forest. There's an interesting picture I'll show you later on where they were showing us how they did cesarean, and they made these razor blades from a certain plant. And so they had a very circular relationship with the forest and the gorillas. They also had an interesting way they built their houses in trees. So that when gorillas, they knew gorillas wouldn't climb trees. And so they found a way to live in harmony with the gorillas. So we learned something very interesting that I wanted to, we also call it ancestral intelligence. And with the recent climate issue, in a world shaped by accelerating climate change, Keepers of the Forest reframes indigenous wisdom as a future's technology, a system of relational intelligence that has sustained biodiversity for millennia. And one of the sad stories was that Batwa were evicted from this forest, and yet they helped preserve it. They were evicted from the forest to create a national park for the gorillas. And they had a very rough time adjusting to life outside the forest because they depended on the forest for everything. But recently, with accelerating the climate issues, we were thinking that how about what could we learn from indigenous knowledge systems and incorporate this into new methods for conservation. So they had a relational intelligence that sustained biodiversity for millennia. So as we call it, the Batwa's ancestral intelligence offers a radical lesson in conservation, that harmony with nature is not a 21st century innovation, but rather an inheritance. And so one thing we kind of picked lessons is what can we learn from the Batwa? There's interesting things we learned from the Batwa, and we were kind of posing a question to anyone out there, borrowing from indigenous knowledge systems. How can we learn from indigenous knowledge systems in how they built the architecture that was eco-friendly, but also how they used regenerative materials, the leaves and everything, to create clothing, to create medicine. And from these, as you'll see in our film, we are iterating a number of adaptations of this film and this philosophy, borrowing from indigenous knowledge systems. How can we rethink fashion? How can we rethink spaces? So a number of adaptations we want to make going forward after the film. We are collaborating with a number of creators, and we're also looking for partners. This is a toolkit by a creator that we are collaborating with, and they've kind of made digital Legos, digital African-inspired. As you can see, some of them are like from the round hills in Kisoro, but these are Legos with which 3D creators can create worlds. But also with now emerging technologies there, we can do simulations for future cities. And so this is one tool we are going to be rolling out. We are also adapting this into kind of creators futures toolkit, kind of an interactive toolkit that's gamified in ways people can start to think about futures. And because futures, but also the importance of conserving the environment. When we went to interact with the Batwa, and when we talk about climate change, many people are like, I won't be here 50 years from now. If the forest is cut, I mean, no one thinks about 50 years from now. So we kind of want to interest people into futures in a gamified way. And so we are going to be adapting the Keepers of the Forest into a game. One is want to do a game. We are also doing the Indigenous Futures toolkit that I will be sharing soon. And so this toolkit will allow us to reimagine futures through a game, through installations and through world building. And yes, these are old artworks from the project. Before we created the VR film, I was building the storyboard, and this is how we're building the narrative. This was a tree, and for them a tree was also a home, and some trees were burial grounds. So a tree was not just a tree to the Batwa. And so yeah, it's very interesting what we have learned, and from just going to document the Batwa story. But yeah, we are looking for partners, and we are also, this project really invites you to become a co-creator, to come and explore. It's not only a love letter to the Batwa, but to all indigenous societies. Yesterday I saw an article about, I think, Quilomba community in Brazil or somewhere. There were slaves from the transatlantic slave trade. They went and built communities of refuge. And these are the most diverse, biodiverse places on earth because these people cared for, they had a way they cared for the environment for generations. So when we journeyed with Batwa into the forest, when you walk with a Mutwa when you go to Bwindi as a tourist, today it's a normal forest. Besides the film, we've also documented virtual tours of different places of Uganda. So what was interesting is when you go to Bwindi today, it's a forest. And that's the interesting thing about intangible heritage. But when you walk with a Mutwa guide, it becomes a museum. It becomes a very different experience. And I'll allow the media team share a clip from the video. We adapted a linear clip from the VR experience, but you can have the full VR experience. So when you walk with a Mutwa, the forest really changes. You know, the trees, you don't just see the trees as trees. Maybe you can just mute the audio for a bit. but you can play it. So why we went with a lot of yellow is they had a very interesting relationship with honey. They had underground honey, which only them can extract from the ground, but also honey in the trees. And when they buried their loved ones, they believed they would be receiving honey from heaven. So we went with a more glowy, yellow, ethereal feel. This is the CGI version part of the story. There's also a 360 part of the story. We built these characters, we built the worlds, and we used mock-up suits. Part of the process, we used mock-up to capture the movements. And so, yeah, this is a love letter not only to the Batwa, but to other indigenous societies. And we are posing a question to all of us. Let's dig into our ancestral intelligence and reimagine futures borrowing from indigenous knowledge systems and how we can redesign our collective futures. And so it's an idea that's in iteration, in motion, but this is a snippet of the experience. I think that covers a bit of our project. You can find we have a series that also documents the process behind the film because it was quite a long process. So we have a series on YouTube. You can check out our social media pages. You can check out Keepers XR on YouTube, where we document the whole process behind the experience. Yeah, thank you so much. And we will be sharing our toolkit publicly, and we are inviting creators and also other partners to. We are also happy to learn and exchange knowledge. Being a young studio, we've been inspired by a lot that's happening here. Last year we were talking of building a game, and then we met Leti Art, so it's encouraging. And also for immersive installation and immersive spaces, I've also been inspired by, I think, the previous presenter. So we're just so honored to come here and just share our work with your thriving ecosystem. And yeah, we're looking forward to collaborations and partnerships to make more adaptations of our work. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Lords and ladies, isn't this beautiful? Wow. We are literally viewing the future. We are literally looking at the future. And hopefully we will not just be witnesses, but we will be creators of this future. Emmanuel Rukundo from Uganda, thank you so much. He's with Keepers XR. As we move on for our two remaining demonstrations, we'll call on Teninke Kamara. Teninke Kamara is from France and is with B Bridges Interactive. Let's hear it for Teninke Kamara. Oh, the lady. Okay. Great. Oh, this applause. She will receive this one. Let's make it better, please. Yeah. Teninke Kamara from B Bridges Interactive. Teninke, are you pleased with this applause? Or you want more? It's okay. All right.
Okay, so hello everyone. Bonjour. I wish I could make this presentation in French because I tend to lose my English in France. But yes, I bring some notes, so I think we will be good. So this presentation will be about my path, my journey as a game developer, as a designer in the game industry. And then I will talk about what we are building in this industry. So next slide. So my name is Tenin Kikamara. I'm a game developer and I'm a gamer. So just a short story about how I discover games. It all started with my parents, actually. So they immigrate to France, and they were shocked to see that young people from the suburb were getting into trouble. Like they're selling drugs, they were into drugs, they drop out school, etc. So they took some advice from parents that were already there, and they came up with, let's say, an evil plan. And the plan was, let's buy them console game, let's buy them each generation of console, so that each time we work late, they will not be out, they will get stuck at home and playing game. So this is how I discovered the video games. So this was actually a good plan, because it works. We didn't go out, we didn't go to vacation, we didn't have fancy clothes. We actually sometimes, some days, we didn't have a complete meal. But yes, we study and we were quite serious. So in the family today, you have nurse, doctor, engineer. So video game is not a problem. If you have children who play too much, or you think your children play too much, usually the problem is deeper than that. It's not the video game itself. So, when I was in college, I knew that I wanted to work in the creative industry. So I saved some money to attend some film school as an audio engineer first. So yes, I grew up in the, sorry, I lost a lot what I wanted to say. So yes, every cent I spent into the school was about learning. It was precious for me. So it was about learning. I was the one that was always late at school to learn to learn at the studio recording, etc. So I was the one always on short projects. Like I was always searching for the small projects so I can improve my skills in audio engineer. And at some point, I was a complete geek. So these dedications to audio engineer helped me to get into one of the top video game school in France. So this school was completely free, but only 5 places each year for 100 of applicants. So yes, I was able to attend this school. But after my scholarship, I was quite frustrated, because I was one from my classmates, people from my classroom was able to be part of the industry, find opportunity, etc. But for me, it was very difficult. So I just questioned myself, and the reality was that I didn't want to just do sound design, just to do audio engineer. This is me knocking the small doors. What I really wanted to do is to produce, to create, films, video games, etc. by my own. So next time, what I decided to do is to expand my skills with motion design, graphic design, coding, etc. And I think in 1 year I was able to have a portfolio. So next slide is a short portfolio, a short showreel. I think, yes. There's no sound, I think, and this is not running. Guys, you need to access internet to run this. Okay, well, I would continue to, yep. So I don't think we will be able to watch the video, but it's not, it's okay. I think we will still be able to watch the trailer. Yes, maybe if you want to try again, but. So learning how to learn actually gives me the confidence to create my own place in the industry. So that time I just chose to create my own company, my game company, and I wasn't alone. This at your right is Numabe. It's my young sister. She's a technical artist. So she's a black person born white. So she's a person with albinism. And together, we decided to found our company, our game company. So our mission was to craft original narrative game, bring diversity in the gaming industry. And yes, like crafting media that goes beyond entertainment, that can educate people, that can touch areas like education and awareness. So, next slide. So we started with Blind Frontiers. Blind Frontiers is actually our first game in development. It's a PC game. Maybe we will be able to watch the trailer. Next slide. Did you guys actually made some tests before? So I think if you lack an internet connection, you will not be able to play any of the video contents. But this one normally should be okay. Could you just download the video, and then we will go back to this slide. So next slide. Okay, so Blind Frontiers is actually a universe, a transmedia project. It means that it's more than just a game. It's actually a comic book, soundtrack. So the idea with the transmedia project is that you expand the universe of the character, of the story on multiple supports. So we carefully craft narratives, and we carefully choose supports to expand our universe. So first I will talk about the Blind Frontier. So next slide. So the game. So Blind Frontier is a road trip, is a narrative adventure. So basically, it's an adventure game that is set in a post-war world. You take this world, you put more natural disaster, more wars, more conflicts, and you have a game where everybody has to survive. So in this game, you played as Numa. So she's a person with albinism. So this is the first time in video game you actually see this kind of character. So you play as Numa, and with your truck, your makeshift truck, you will have to reach what we will call the Golden City. Golden City is meant to be the place the place she actually searched for belonging. So she tried to flee harsh living conditions. And yes, the Golden City might be a solution. So to play the game, there are two main phases. So the first one is the road phases, and when you drive, you drive with your truck across dangerous lands. You facing storm, tornadoes, deadly road, etc. And the goal is to managing your resources so you can progress to the next city until the golden city. Then you will get the chance to have some resources, have some, gasoline, equipment for your truck. And yes, the cities will be the place to actually obtain those resources. But you will need to learn their tradition. You will need to interact carefully with locals to earn resources like gas and equipment. The twist is you have to socially manage your appearance, your manners, your clothes to avoid rejection and stigma. You only get one chance to make a good first impression. So, for example, if you pretend too much, and if you pretend too much to fit in, if you you try too much to fit in other expectations, your mental health will suffer. So we have a mental health gauge, and if it's if it's plain, your character will be suffer from mental health, and it will be a game over. So the goal there is to make players reflect on their own experience of rejection and conformity, and how sometimes we camouflage ourselves to just survive social norms. So the game is a kind of allegory of social survival. But yes, don't worry, it's a funny game. You will get to meet with fun characters, etc. But still, we want the game to be impactful. We want people to reflect on real life society. And yes, this is how we built Blind Frontiers. So Blind Frontiers is planned to be released around 2027. We said it's a PC game, and we also have a partnership with Xbox to bring it to console and reach a wider experience. So next, as I said, Blind Frontiers, it's a universe, it's a transmedia project. So it's not only a video game, it's also a comic book. So I will tell a little story about how we come up with this, the comic book. So next slide. So in 2022, I think, yes, it was in 2022, the French Institute and the French Embassy in Ghana launched a residency program to strengthen cultural and creative collaboration between the two countries, so between France and Ghana. So I applied, but the time I was selected, I was already involved in the development of Blind Frontiers, the game. So I just proposed that we try to make something that expand the universe of Blind Frontiers. And with Aram, we decided to create a comic book. So I went to Ghana. I met the amazing team. So Letty Art on the left, and we met with Farida also. And we'll be able to work with the Association for Persons with Albinism in Ghana. So remember, the main character is a person with albinism. So we work with them as sensitivity readers to make sure that representation was accurate and respectful. Even if I have a young sister with albinism, she is not representative of all persons with albinism. At the end of the residency, we presented a full chapter, and today that chapter is even referenced by French publishers. So next slide. So yes, we did the writing. I did the writing in 1 week, so it was easy because I was already involved in the game creation. So I already have the concept, the character, and the story, the backstory. So it was quick to make the writing for the first chapter. And then Letty Art's team did the layout, did the drawing, the effect, etc. in 3 weeks. So in 4 weeks, we have been able to have a comic. So I just wanted to, just pass by the comic so you can have a look. So just, yes, there's no dialogue in there, so just pass the page and just see the beautiful work of Leti Art. So just for the story about the story in the comic book is different from the story in the Blind Frontiers game. In the story takes place during Numa's childhood, showing how she tries to find her place among children who mock her because she is a person with albinism and she has a different appearance. So she tried to make her place around those children. And our goal was to raise awareness about albinism and the daily challenge they face by people living with the daily challenge faces by those people in living with this rare condition. So you have to know, in some part of the world, people tend to think that they are, witchery resources. So they cut their arm, they cut their body part and sell it to the black market, let's say it like this. So next slide, and the last one. Let's get back to the next slide. And the sound. So this is the trailer for Blind Frontier, so you get to know how it looks. If you can put the sound, it will be. Great transition for the last part of our Blind Frontiers universe. So Blind Frontiers universe, we said that it was a game, it was a comic book, and it's also a soundtrack. So let me explain the soundtrack parts. It's inspired by traditional West African music, so the one that you just listened in the trailer. So in the game, you will meet with griots. Griot, I don't know if we said like this in English. Basically, they're storytellers who preserve the world knowledge through oral tradition and through music, through instruments. So you just hear the kora. It's between the harp and the guitar. So yeah. So they will guide you in the game. They will guide you just as they guide people and family in real life. So we wanted, as I said, we didn't just decided to found our video game studio to making game. We wanted to find something that reflects ourselves, that reflects who we are and what we lack in the portfolio, in the global portfolio. So I'm a West African. I'm from Guinea, and in Guinea I have a griot in my family. So, for example, if there's a wedding, if there's a children, etc., they will be there, and they will be there to, just tell my story each time there's an event. So to conclude, our vision is to expand Blind Frontiers more than a comic book or a soundtrack. We plan to make it as an animation, a short animation, and create and we want from the company, from the company's side, we want to create a strong intellectual property, that can live across many forms of media. So we definitely have a transmedia studio. Yes, we don't do just game. We want to explore as many support as possible. So next slide. I think it was the part, yes, next slide. Yes, I think it was the part, this is a drawing done from my youngest sister. So I think it's the part where if you have question, you can ask question. But I'd like to thank also Alliance Francaise, Hélène, and Letty Arts, so ERAM, to bring me back to Ghana. Last time I was in Ghana, it wasn't 6 years ago, but 3 years ago, ERAM, right? And yes, for me, to be back to Ghana felt welcoming. I felt welcoming, and truly felt like it was yesterday, like it was home. So as a small gift, I want to share with you the digital version of the comic book. You just have to pass by our stand, the Letty Art stand, and I will just give you the QR code so you can download the English version of the comic book. So thanks for this presentation. And yeah.
Thank you, Taninke Kamara. Let's hear it again for Taninke Kamara, who is with B Bridges Interactive. 2025 Novembre Numerique, Accra, happening at Alliance Francaise, Accra, in the capital of Ghana. We are live on YouTube, as said before, and you can access footage by looking for Alliance Francaise, Accra. It's a wonderful time here. If you've had a great time so far, put your hands together. It's a very inspiring and instructive time we've had for Novembre Numerique. This is the third day, the climax for the three-day festival. And I'd like to remind us that it's organized by Alliance Francaise Accra and Letty Arts. Thank you so much for putting this together. Very soon we'll have the pleasure of receiving the French ambassador to Ghana. And I'd like to underline this protocol when she comes in. If you are under the canopies where the exhibitors are, please, we need just one person to be left there. Everyone else should come to this end. This is very important. So if you can hear me in the booths, the individual booths, once the French ambassador comes, I will alert you, we need just one representative for each booth. Everyone else comes to La Payotte to take a seat or to find a great place to stand so we can carry on with the program. I'd like to acknowledge some very important people who have joined us this evening. Before we have Diversion, who will give us the final presentation or digital demonstration this evening. Let's acknowledge the presence of Mr. Francis Afelete, who is from the presidency. He's from the presidency, the Jubilee House. Thank you so much, representing the president and the team at the Jubilee House. President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Thank you so much, sir, for making time and joining us here today. Also, we have the pleasure of receiving Julian Lecas, who is the head of Corporation French Embassy. Yes, let's hear it for Julian Lecas. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to join us this evening. We have the pleasure of receiving Johan Lawrence from WBHO. He's the director. Is Johan here? Johan? Maybe he is with one of our exhibitors. It's possible, all right? But let's welcome Johan Lawrence. Let's put our hands together for Johan. Yes. Last but definitely not the least, we have a speaker who's joined us this evening, and he is Mr. Okai Minta. Mr. Okai Minta happens to be the board chairman of the National Service Authority. Let's hear it for Mr. Okai Minta. He will be addressing us very soon. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, sir. All right, as we move on, Diversion will give us their presentation this evening, and to give us that presentation from Diversion is Agatha Di Tommaso. Agatha Di Tommaso. In Ghana, we say Agatha, but we don't really like the pronunciation. So it's Agatha, right? Agatha Di Tommaso. She says, wow.
Yes, because you pronounce it correctly.
Thank you. Agatha.
So there is Agatha name in Ghana?
Yes. So Ghana, the name Agatha, we say Agatha. But that's...
Name?
It's a female
name.
Okay. But that's the corruption of your name, Agatha. Yeah, if we want to upset people called Agatha, we say Agatha. It's perfect. All right, welcome.
Thank you.
And take us away.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So I'm extremely happy to be here tonight. I would like to thank, of course, Leti Arts, Alliance Francaise, French Institute, and the French Embassy for inviting me here tonight for the festival and also for the boot camp, because for the one who don't know, actually Leti Arts, the French Embassy, Alliance Francaise, and French Institute is also launching the first XR boot camp in Accra here, called Immersa Africa. I will have the pleasure to open it tomorrow morning, and it will last 5 days. We will welcome 15 participants, and we will provide to them and share with them all our knowledge and skills about XR, the industry, the market, the distribution, and so on. So I'm very happy to be here tonight with you. I think we can start with a video. I have a trailer before the presentation, if it's possible. So you have some key visuals about what we do. Okay, thank you. Thank you. We will start with the presentation. I promise it won't take a lot of time. I know you're tired, it's a bit late. I start talking. So I'm Agatha, I'm Italian, but I represent and I work and I live in France. And I represent tonight a special company called Diversion. Diversion is an agency, we can go next, thank you. Is an agency specializing in immersive events and installations. We're based in Paris, but we operate mostly abroad, literally everywhere in the world. We can go. The company was created in 2016, so almost 10 years ago. And since the very beginning, our main goal has always been to promote the distribution of immersive works internationally. It's very important. We don't produce, but we do many, many other things in the immersive art industry, but we don't produce work. What we do is to promote it, to foster the distribution, the showcase of these works, and to support, I would say, the encounter between the artist and the public, because there are not so many opportunities for the public to discover the immersive art and for the artists to show their projects. So we try to fill these gaps and to help the public and the artists. To do so, we put in place 4 different departments. We do different activities. As I told you before, we don't produce, but we have a technical department, a distribution department, a training department, and a XR solution department. We can start with the next slide. Thank you. And the next one also, thank you. So immersive events is the name that we gave to our technical department. What we do is to help physical spaces mainly, so museums, cultural venues, festivals, brands also, events, to integrate immersive technologies in their spaces. So they want to present an immersive project, a VR content or a digital installation. They don't know how, so they can call us and we can take care of everything from A to Z. From A to Z, it means that we normally take care of the setup of the spaces. So we do we visit the spaces that are, we will welcome the experiences. We decide how to organize the spaces, how to install the setup. We can also help on curating the programs if our clients don't have a specific idea of content in mind. We can also help him in programming and curating. We can take care of the sonography. We can take care of the training of the staff of the space in question. And we follow all the operations from the beginning to the end. I have some examples, so it will be more clear. Next slide, please. Festival de Cannes is one of our most prestigious partners. I don't know if you know it, but since 2024, the Festival de Cannes opened an immersive competition. So a program dedicated to immersive projects, which is a competition. They present more or less 16, 17 immersive projects. When I say immersive projects, it's really large, so they can present VR, immersive projections, AI projects, immersive sound, etc. What we do is to take care of the installation of all these projects in their spaces. Since they started in 2024, they don't have a fixed space yet. So in 2024, it was in a space called Cineom. It's a cinema. So the challenge each time is to adapt our installations and the projects that have to be presented to the spaces and to the technical specificities of each space. And that's what we do. This year, it was in a hotel, at the Carlton Hotel, so the challenges were, again, different, but it was a great success. This is the second example, Pavillon Namur, which is an exhibition that is still ongoing, if I'm not wrong, in Belgium, in Namur. And it's in a permanent space which presents immersive experiences in Belgium. For them, we did more or less the same thing, meaning that before, when they have an idea of the program, we visited the space and together we decided how to manage all the spaces and how to present the projects in the best conditions. We can go on the next. The next, if I'm not wrong, yes, it's a collaboration we did with Cinematheque. So as I told you, we work with festivals, we work with exhibitions. In this case, it was an exhibition in a physical venue in a museum, le Cinémathèque de Paris. We provided for them this special chair with headset securized to the chair because they ran this exhibition about Wes Anderson, who several years ago produced also a VR experience. And it was running all the exhibition during 4 or 5 months. We provided the technique, the solution to securize the headset to the chair, and the staff also during all the exhibition. We can go next, thank you. As I told you before, we have also a distribution department. We can go next. The distribution department was created in 2018, so 2 years after the creation of the company. Because in 2016 we started and we were very happy to start working with festivals and physical spaces, but we wanted also to be more close to the artistic productions, to the producers, to the artists, etc. So we decided to open this distribution department, which today count more than 80 immersive projects that we distribute internationally. We have a focus on VR because it's the format with which we started at the very beginning. So it's a format that we know very well, but we like to experiment and also to expand all the projects that we work with. So we work with digital installations, immersive projections, dome shows for planetariums, etc., etc. Many formats. We can go next. Yes, as I told you, so 360 VR, interactive installation, full dome, immersive projection. You can check our website. There is the entire catalog of all the projects that we distribute. We can go next. Here we have some examples, just to show you the variety of the formats. Ancestors is a digital installation from a Finnish artist called Anna Aslati. It's not VR, it's really only tech, quite sophisticated high-tech and also very delicate installation. We started working with this artist in 2020. And what we did for her is to conceive with her a lighter and a more easy deployable version of this sophisticated installation. Because at the very beginning of the distribution of these projects, we quickly realized that it was quite difficult to transport and very expensive also to transport this kind of installation to a venue from a venue to another. And it created also some budget constraint and limitation for the festivals and the museums that wanted to welcome the projects. So our technical department collaborated closely with the artist, and we produced a lighter and more easy deployable version of the project. We can go next. Energeia is a French project by a French artist called Hugo Arsac. We're quite happy of this collaboration because the project itself was a commission by EDF, which is the electricity company in France. It was at the beginning only VR. What we did is to create a system to integrate immersive projection with the VR. So we can present this project, which is an interactive 6-stop PC VR project, with a combination of VR, so spectators in the headset, they watch the experience and interact with the experience, and immersive projection in a room, depending on the space, so that also the visitors of the space can enjoy the experience, even if they're not in the headset. It's quite interesting for some venues, this kind of solution, because as you know, VR has not a lot of business model that works that are affordable. So if you can present a project in VR and in immersive projection, you can potentially welcome more people, and the public is satisfied, and the venue is not frustrated of the fact that they can not put each spectator in the headset. We can go next, thanks. I think that there is one. Yes, this is more or less an example as Energeia, the previous one, 21-22. Yes, but we can go on the next. It's a Canadian artist, Thierry Loa, who works with drone, and he produced this trilogy about USA, China, and the next episode will be about India. He flew actually with drone on the skies of these territories, and he wanted to witness the human impact on the environment of these countries. They're very beautiful VR experiences, and again, in order to maximize the possibility to welcome people in the venues that present these projects, we present it in VR plus immersive projection, when the venue can allow this kind of format. We can go on, thank you. Expertise, it's our training department, as I told you before. We realized at some point, like 3 years ago, that through all the years since the beginning of our activity, we collected a lot of skills, a lot of experiences, and we wanted to share them to explain a little bit, since we were there at the very beginning of the distribution of artistic immersive experiences. We thought that it can be interesting for artists and producers that approach these formats to know a little bit what the context is and what is the evolution of the formats so far. We can go next. Next, thank you. So we provide two kind of programs of trainings that can be adapted, that are quite flexible, and that we adapt depending on the needs of our client. The first program, the first training session is about the ecosystem in general, so the evolution actually of the formats from 2016 to today, the best practices, the best projects that have been produced so far, depending on the different formats that are inside the big umbrella of the immersive art, with a special focus about distribution. So the state of the market today, what are the formats that work better than others, which are the tips that producers and artists that want to enter the game, the industry, should know before started working in the industry. And then, yes, next, thank you. The second one is more technical. It's provided by our operators and technicians. So it's more on how to welcome people in an immersive exhibition. So how to use the technologies, how to use the devices, how to introduce a project to a visitor, how to create the good onboarding and offboarding of an experience, because all these aspects are very important when someone try VR for the first time or not for the first time. It's important to create a good experience from the beginning to the end for the spectator. So it's one of our goals, and it's one of the things that we want to share with our with the people that accept to have us as trainers. We can go next. This is one project we have ongoing in Ethiopia. I mention it because it's thanks to this project that I get in touch with Leti Arts, and we were able to do what we are doing here in Accra. So we were contacted by Alliance Francaise in Addis Abeba because they wanted to create this project, Abesha Creative Lab, which is an incubator dedicated to new formats and to young talents that wants to start working with new formats. They asked us, we contributed to the project in 3 different phases. The first phase was the consulting. So remotely, we provide consulting about how to manage all the space that they had and what kind of equipment they would purchase. They needed to purchase to install everything in their spaces. The second phase was on site, so 2 operators of our company came to Addis Abeba to install everything and to train the staff of the hub on using all these technologies. And the third phase is ongoing right now, is one of my colleagues who's there to provide training about XR, so all the topics that I mentioned before. Thanks to these projects, I met Prince and Eiram in a New Images in Paris in April. I pitched this project, they were very interested, and so we started collaborating, and as I told you before, tomorrow we will start the bootcamp here in Accra. XR Solution is our last department. It's the part of the technical department which conceives and produces technical solutions to facilitate the distribution and the presentation of immersive experiences. I have some examples. Next, thanks. VRU is like a solution that we provide to libraries in France that wants to present VR experiences, but they don't have staff to take care of the space, and they don't have sophisticated technical skills. So we provide to them this ready-to-use VR headset with a program inside that we decide before with the library. Very easy to use because the user can put the headset, choose the content with the gaze. It's a very, very easy interface, and the content starts autonomously all alone. And they don't need to have like mediators on site or helpers on site, etc. It's something that worked very, very well in the libraries in France, and we're very happy of this collaboration. Next. Territoire Immersive is a huge project we're putting in place thanks to the fund France 2030. We will equip cultural centers and cinema theaters in France, starting from the end of 2025, with VR equipment to allow them to present, besides their traditional programs, also immersive experiences. So, for example, the cinema theaters will equipped with 30 VR headsets to present 360 contents in like a VR cinema mode, so synchronized projections for 30 people at the same time, using the sound system of the cinema room. So like a classic projections, but in VR. And besides that, also 2 interactive stations for each cinema theater that we will join the network. It's a project that we started also in the Netherlands in 2022, which is still ongoing. We're very happy. In the Netherlands, we have 7 cinema theaters that are part of the network. In France, it will be a declination a little bit different and more big, I would say. Next, please. EasyCast is the last, I think, solution that I will present. It's a software that we conceived which allow to control and cast many Quest headsets at the same time. One of the difficulties of the venues that wants to present immersive experiences is the mediation, is the having staff to welcome the people and to help them to watch the experience, fix the problems, etc. It's a very huge problem. We try to fix this problem with this software because if, for example, a venue has 10 VR Quest headsets and present 10 different projects, with one staff and one PC, the staff can control all the 10 headsets through an interface, very easy. He can check the batteries of the controllers, he can check the batteries of the headset, he can check at which point the experience is, what the user is seeing exactly in this moment. So it's very useful. I think that's the end. I don't remember. We can go next. Yes, it's the end. If you have any questions, I'm here to reply. Thanks for your attention and have a good night.
Let's do it again for Agatha Di Tommaso from Diversion. Agatha, thank you so much. 2025 Novembre Numerique, Accra, happening at Alliance Francaise, Accra, and we are live on YouTube. Look for Alliance Francaise, Accra. Before we take the address from the National Service Authority Board Chair, who is with us, I'd like to announce that the French ambassador is in our midst. As said before, I will underline this protocol. Once she comes to the Lafayette, please, if you are with the exhibitors, you are an audience member, or you are with a team, come to the Lafayette and leave just a representative there. She is on a tour at the moment. Okay, there is a showcase from Letty Arts, half of our organizers. The other half, of course, is Alliance Francaise, Accra. Letty Arts, are we ready with that showcase?
I wonder how life would be if I had more than just surviving. But here, they just say, don't dream, work, make money. We burn these cables to get the copper. Not easy. But when you have a reason, you find a way. I want a better future for Nana and me. I promise you, Nana, I will get you the life you deserve. I'm strong. I will succeed. Every dollar I'm making brings me closer.
See the web of destruction you've made. Small boy, you think you are free? Oh no. There are consequences for your actions.
Thank you, Letty Art, for that showcase. We are grateful. Again, I would remind us that the French ambassador is with us this evening. She will be addressing us very soon. Please, if you are with the exhibitors, kindly come and take a seat. There are plenty seats here. If you are in the booth, please come to the La Payotte and take a seat. The French ambassador is with us and will be addressing us in a moment. Before her, for the 2025 Novembre Numerique Accra, we would receive the board chairman of the National Service Authority. He has a word for us. It is Mr. Okai Minta. Let's put our hands together, please.
Bonsoir. That's the only French I know. I will. Good evening, distinguished guests, partners, innovators, and friends. The past few days have been an exciting experience, and tonight, as we gather here for the closing section of Novembre Numerique in Accra, we do so with a deep sense of pride and reflection. During these days, we have witnessed extraordinary creativity, bold ideas, and a shared belief that technology and culture can move forward together. The conversations and collaborations that have emerged here are the reality check that artificial intelligence is not just about algorithms, it's about amplifying the human story, and the story is richer and more relevant in Ghana. At the National Service Authority, we see this clearly. Our mission goes beyond deploying young people into the workforce. We are shaping a generation ready to create, innovate, and lead in a world driven by technology and imagination. Through our digital innovation and creative enterprise programs, we are turning national service into a springboard, a place where bright minds develop solutions, start businesses, and carry Ghanaians in unity into every sector. This festival has shown us what the vision looks like in practice. Young creators using AI to tell our stories, to protect our heritage, to build bridges between the past and the future. It is a reminder that our culture lies not just in its history, but in its ability to evolve. The future belongs to nations that can merge tradition with transformation. And Ghana is already doing that. Through collaboration, creativity, and the fearless energy of its youth. As we close this year's Novembre Numerique, let's hold on to the momentum we have built. Let's continue to work together. Artists, technologists, educators, policymakers, and institutions to create a future where innovation uplifts everyone. The National Service Authority will continue to champion that future. One where service becomes an invention, where learning becomes creation, and where young people drive the digital economy with purpose and pride. Tonight is not an ending, but a beginning. I am pleased to announce that the National Service Authority will partner with Letty Acts to lay the foundation for a vibrant gaming ecosystem in Ghana. Let us go from this place determined to keep building, collaborating, and creating. Because when Ghana youths rise, when our culture inspires innovation, and when our institutions move as one, we do not just imagine the future, but we define it. Thank you, and may the light of creativity and service continue to guide Ghana forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Board Chair of the NSA, the National Service Authority, Mr. Okai Minta. As we say in Ghana, wanuham, your mouth perfume. 2025 Novembre Numerique. And if this experience is totally new to you, it just means digital November. Digital November. And it is France celebrating digital culture globally, recognizing the impact of the digital world all around the world. It started in 2017, and On Wednesday, the 5th of November 2025, it debuted in Accra for the very first time. Accra, are we happy to receive Novembre Numerique? Okay. So, Her Excellency Diarra Dimay Labille is with us. Let's put our hands together for her. Your Excellency, we acknowledge you. In Ghana, we have a tradition where the king or queen sits, and then there is a linguist who speaks on behalf of the royal. This evening, if you will, the royal will sit and the linguist will speak. So, to deliver the speech of the French ambassador to Ghana, we will receive Mr. Julien Lecas, Head of Corporation French Embassy. Let's make it louder for Julien, please, as he comes.
Good evening. Thank you so much, MC. I'm a little bit shy, so... So good evening, everyone. Dear Chairman of, Your Excellency, dear Chairman of the Board of National Service Authority, dear President of Alliance Francaise, dear friends, dear partners, dear Aram. Aram, I'm sure you are working. You are here, nice. Mishadai also, all of you, you are there. KNUST also, so it's very nice to see you, all of you tonight. So tonight we are celebrating a lot of things, perhaps because the chairman mentioned that 2 words. You said a lot of things, but I want to mention 2 words. Heritage, that is something very important in your country, but also in my country. And youth, you mentioned that it's the future, and certainly heritage, the past, the future, but also youth, innovation, digital, all those things. So sometimes we think, okay, heritage is the past, youth is the future. No. With innovation, with this Novembre Numerique, it's an opportunity to show that we can work all together, and sure, France and Ghana. So I must mention also, dear President, that next year, in 2027, we'll celebrate the 70th anniversary of Alliance Francaise. And so it also shows that the past, 70 years ago, you opened the Alliance Francaise of Accra, and you are still there, now continuing to work on French language, on cultural diversity, but also on innovation. So you show us that the way to the future. So tonight is the first edition of the Novembre Numerique. Thank you so much, Hélène, for that. You did it with Aram, but as it has been mentioned, it's a festival where we have been created 10 years ago. Okay, perhaps we could ask to our predecessor, what have you done? But now we are here with the new ambassador, so a new journey, a long journey for France and Ghana in innovation. So, you know, but a lot has been said. Perhaps to mention that in our project, our common project, it's also a very nice thing to see that French Alliance is opening, so to young people, to innovation, and I want to mention Aram and Letiart, especially the VIA Center. I hope that we'll continue together to promote heritage, because also at the beginning there was also an idea with VR, with innovation, to promote your heritage, the Ghanaian heritage, but also the French heritage. So there is a long way now, okay, with just the beginning. Then this VR Center, as you know, it's one of the first in Africa, and I think the first in West Africa. So congratulations. I think, remember, you were in Lagos. You have the opportunity to show to Africa and also to France what is the best in Ghana. So congratulations. This project is not only to have some, to show some projects. There is so many things to show, to have this party tonight. But there will be also the training courses. I think it's going to begin tomorrow. Agatha, thank you so much, Agatha, because you mentioned that you will begin tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday also. Wow. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wow. Okay. So a very long week for you. And what is interesting with this training course is also that there will be 16 persons, 10 from Ghana. Sure, we need to have people from Ghana because you are the best. But also, we will have some people from French-speaking countries. But now, Ghana is a French-speaking country. You are part of a francophonie. So, I mentioned Benin, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and also perhaps the people coming from Uganda, Kenya, France, sure. That shows that we have a lot opportunities, lot spaces to share together, not only France, but more than Europe, because France is part of Europe, that I need to mention it. Not because only I need to, but I want to mention it. Sorry. So yes, and during the 3 days, there was so many opportunities to see innovation. I want to mention KNUST, the University of Kumasi, the famous one, with this project. Okay, I need to say that also. A project funded by the French embassy, by the French government, but not only. At the beginning, there is Ghanaian people, there is Kumasi, there is KNUST. So more than the basis, all is there. So, sometimes we say we support you. Perhaps we need that you support us also, to give us creativity, to share all. We have a lot to share. So thank you so much to KNUST. Perhaps just because innovation, we saw many very nice things, digital culture. Innovation is also AI, artificial intelligence, in French, intelligence artificielle, IA, AI. Sorry, it's difficult for me. And this project is also focusing on health, agri, education, but in Ghana, we need to speak about business. A lot of you have 2-3 jobs doing their own business. And so in this project with KNUST, we are supporting some startups. So French people, we try to be with you, to understand you, and to perhaps to change our mindset. You are focusing on business, we are going to focus on business with you. Cultural and creative industries are also the center of our partnership. I want to mention Creation Africa Ghana, this project which has been launched 2 years ago. In the next weeks, Jeremy, we'll launch a new project with a new call open to all the Ghanaian creative entrepreneurs. It's also a part of our partnership. As you can see, digitalization, numérique, AI, creativity, all of those fields, we can work a lot together. So I think for this first edition, it was a very great opportunity, a great success, Hélène, and your team. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Aram, and for your team also. And I hope so that next year, unfortunately, I won't be there, but if you invite me, I will be there. Thank you so much. Thank you, MC. You did well.
Thank you so much, Julian. Let's hear it one more time for Julian Lecas, Head of Cooperation, French Embassy. Thank you so much. At this point, we have a photo opportunity, yes, with the French ambassador and all the dignitaries that are here. I've been informed that the pictures will be taken at this part of the La Payotte, where the stage is. So, Your Excellency and your team, kindly join me here. Let's receive them all with an applause, please. Okay. Is DJ Austin around? Okay. Can we take some music? Let's have a bit of music at the background whilst the photo opportunity unfolds. We want more. All right. Okay.
So we have the dignitaries.
Your Excellency. DJ Austin, Miss Austin, yes, with YFM. Miss Austin will carry on with some music. The panel will assemble and we will take some interaction from them. I believe there will be a question and answers session as we carry on as well. Let me give a shout out to some creatives that I can see in our midst. Ria Boss, hello to you. Ria Boss at the back, singer, songwriter. Ria Boss. Joaco, I see you as well. Joaco at the back. Let me see, who else do I see in the creative world here? Who else? Ami Shaddai, give us a wave. Okay, wonderful. If you are a creative, a local creative, do let me know. I'll give you a special shout out. Starboy, I see you. Doc from KNUST Responsible AI Lab. Starboy. Yesterday, you saw what happened, right? You saw what happened. You can take a bit of the glory because, you know, Infantipim won the NSMQ. So since you are Prempe, you can take a bit of the glory. All right, Miss Austin. call the panelists to take their seat. I know we are enjoying some networking at the moment, but we'll have our panelists take their seat and we will kickstart with that part of the program. Let's have Aram Akofa-Teria take a seat. That's the co-founder and chief executive of Letty Arts. Aram, thank you. He shakes Miss Austin's hand. Aram, you can take your seat. Selassie Awiti. Of Dobison, XR. Selassie Awiti of Dobison, XR. He's also approaching the stage at the moment. Emmanuel Rukundo from Uganda is also approaching the stage at the moment. Where is Brian? I see Brian conversing with Amishadai. Okay, Brian Afande of Black Rhino VR, Kenya, is also a panelist and will be taking his seat in a moment. Agatha Di Tommaso of Diversion is also a panelist, and she happens to be the final panelist that I will call up. Those of you holding Brian, please release him. Okay, yes, ladies, Francisca and Blessing, make sure our panelists are hydrated. A cross-continental discussion on innovation, collaboration, and immersive media, building on insights from the Creation Africa Forum and highlighting the upcoming Immersa Africa Bootcamp, which has to do with Letty Arts and Alliance Francaise Accra with Diversion. The moderator this evening will be my brother, Rev Eskin. Rev Eskin, let's give him a hand. Rev Eskin is going to moderate. He's shaking the hands of the panelists now. All right, Rev, I'll hand over to you. I am Prince Benjamin, PB for short. I've been your MC. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Prince Benjamin. One more time. He's one of my favorite presenters, by the way. Guy with a smooth voice, you know, on radio, he's the guy. Hi, Miss Austin. Miss Austin is also a prolific female DJ. For most of you guys who are not from Ghana. DJ, sorry, not female DJ. She doesn't like that. I apologize, Miss Austin. MC kept saying DJ Miss Austin. She doesn't like that too. She just goes by the name Miss Austin. Welcome, guys, and good evening. I'm sure you guys have been here throughout. So we're basically here this evening, at this juncture, to have a very, very important conversation. And I believe all of us are here because we're deeply rooted in the field we're about to discuss. I'm sure people who are here are quite familiar with what you all do, but just for the sake of the ones who are not very familiar with who we are, I'll briefly just have us run a brief introduction each. Okay, so just tell me which country you're from, what you do, why you're here, dear. We're going to find out. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my brother in the Kente. Nice outfit, by the way.
Wow, thank you. I'm wearing Prestige Designs, you know.
Blessings.
Prestige Kente. Yeah, so I'm from Ghana. I'm Aram Tawia, CEO and co-founder of Letty Arts. And yes, and we are the co-organizers of Novembre Numerique. And we are here to discuss how digital and the creative sector works together for the future experiences of African culture. So yes, I'm really excited to be here to discuss.
Perfect. Before Sayam continues, with all due respect, if you're around and you'd like to really be a part of this conversation, kindly come have a seat. We have space. I believe we're all here to witness this great experience. So with respect, I'd like to invite more people to take their seats. Kindly join us it won't be fair to have such an important conversation and have us walk about. So if you're free and you'd like to join us, kindly come sit. You're warmly invited. Come join us. Bro, you can continue.
Yes, and I'd like to give a shout to my family, to my wife.
Hi.
Alma, she's the CEO of Prestige Kente, also
Great.
exhibiting. And my kids, Lolo, Jose, Setiam, Sayo.
Hello. That's beautiful. My brother, are you going to say hi to your family? Are they here?
I don't have an army here.
Beautiful.
So I'm Selassie Awiti, the founder and creative director of Dobison. We're part of Novembre Numerique to showcase our Experience Africa VR app, which will be on display at the Letty Arts Alliance VR Center permanently. Yeah.
Perfect. My brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, Emmanuel Rukundo from Uganda.
Sharp.
Yeah, co-founder Keepers XR. We specialize in documenting heritage. And we are here sharing our work, our first VR film called Keepers of the Forest, which we are adapting into many other experiences.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
My brother.
Let's share this. Sharing is caring. Brian Afande from Nairobi, Kenya. Yeah, I see you.
A round of applause. Kenya in the building.
Yeah, I'm co-founder and chief executive at Black Rhino VR. We are an extended reality technology hub. And I was here showcasing our project called Echoes of the Ancestors.
Beautiful.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Agatha. I come from France. I'm Italian, but I work and live in France. I represent Diversion, which is an agency specializing in immersive events and installations. And we are here, I'm here, to take part to the festival today, to this panel and all the encounters, and also to open the bootcamp Immerse Africa. We will start tomorrow. It will last 1 month, but the part organized by Diversion is 5 days program, so the first part of the program.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So these are our panelists for today's conversation. Before we get deep into the main topic for today, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, something great happened in Lagos. How many of us were at the Forum Creation Africa? 4 out of the 5. Perfect. We're going to tell you how fun it was. You were? Oh, I beg your pardon. It's fine. We're all there. We were all there. But let's tell the story. I was wondering what was going on, but it's fine. I had a wonderful experience. I saw so much. I'm a journalist, by the way. I think I should have introduced myself as well. I'm a radio journalist. I work with YFM Ghana, Ghana's #1 youth radio brand. And I was basically selected to go represent Ghana. I saw the story from when the seats gathered. When people were gathered to be briefed about what Creation Africa was about, I was there. I saw the launch. I had the opportunity of interviewing the stakeholders to understand what was about to be done before it even started. And so if it saw success, it was just right that I join our reps from the other countries to basically tell our part of the story and also see how far, it's gone in the other countries it was. And listen, I saw great things. I am not an expert in the field you guys are in, but what I saw has given me hope for the future. That's basically what we're here to discuss. And so I don't know who's going to take what turn, but share in a few words. How was Creation Africa Forum in Nigeria, and how much impact did it have on you? Let's start with Hiram.
Yeah. Aram.
Aram, yes.
Oh, but it's the same meaning anyway. Yeah, so for me, I think Creation Africa, as always, has been a place to always stimulate your mind, right? To think differently and to also appreciate the creative industry. So what we saw there was just a beauty of African culture and contemporary art in elegance, like the branding, the setup, the exhibits, and the quality of projects that African creatives place on their design and the technology that makes it ready for the future. So for me, it's always a pleasure to participate. And also being a curator, when I was going through all the works that people were doing, like Emmanuel and Brian and like everyone, like you could see the quality.
Yes.
Right, it has improved so much, right? And the gaming side, the curators choosing some of our works and the other games that were displayed, you saw the setup. I've never seen, even at the top conferences, games set up in the way Creation Africa did for this version. So I think that's just a beginning. Africa has come to stay with the energy that we all have here and what we've displayed here. I'm sure next year and the future is just going to be
A round of applause for Creation Africa. I'm going to sip my Ghana brother. I will take our brothers, words, and let me move to our Uganda brother, okay? And I'll speak to the Kenyan brother as well. So, my brother Emmanuel, what did you take home when you went to Creation Africa? Because you brought so much. You were part of the people that displayed their creative works. When you were leaving, what was on your mind? What did Creation Africa Forum Nigeria put on your mind when you were leaving?
I think offhead one is the beautiful the synergy between the Africans. For me, as a young creator who first pitched in 2023 at the first forum, in these 2 years, I have learned from this platform. I've got mentorship that enabled us to refine the project. And because of Creation Africa, the embassy at home picked interest in our work, and funded our film. We've also learned through that process. And coming back to exhibit the forum was really special for us. But our main take home was when we come from home, we have a young ecosystem. When I come to these places, I really see how much I need. Like now we don't have game devs at home. Even though we want to inspire other creators, we have to start working with other people outside home to even build home. So I love that we are starting to move as a symphony. And through Creation Africa, we got invited back here. And so many things are springing out of that.
Brian, what's the most memorable moment you had at Creation Africa from 2025?
This is so random.
I know.
Meeting Jeremy in an elevator, and that's the reason. And that's the reason why I'm here today.
Oh, beautiful.
And I think this really exemplifies the power of what Creation Africa was. I personally believe your networks will determine your net worth in one way, shape, or form. And the conversation started in an elevator with Jeremy. And then the next day I met him after a party. We were in the back of the car and we still connected. And we're like, you know what? You need to meet a guy called Prince. I'm like, yo, I know this Prince dude. The next day I had breakfast with Prince. I approached him at breakfast. I'm like, yo, we need to talk about this stuff. We exchanged numbers and boom, I'm here. That's the power of Creation Africa.
That's beautiful. Agatha, so you may have seen the first edition in France, right? You didn't. All right, so I'm sure you may have heard or seen moments from there. When you got the opportunity to see the second forum in Nigeria, what was your first impression about, the entire experience when you got there?
I felt like welcomed and like at home. Immediately. I don't want that it sound like a stupid thing, but I often travel for work. We had the opportunity to work in Africa 2 times in Morocco. It was me there. It was an amazing experience. But this time, I really felt something more. I really felt an energy, amazing. I had super great meetings with many artists and many producers there. And what struck me the most was the fact that each artist and each producer I spoke with talked to me about the idea to do projects about culture, African identity, African legacy, traditions, each of them. And since I had meetings with very many people from all the countries in Africa, what struck me the most is also the variety. Like huge, we have this tendency, it's very sad, to talk about Africa like a unique, country, but not at all, of course. And being there and like feeling the energy helped me to realize it really, really well.
Perfect. Deeper connection to our culture and our roots as Africans. So we're here tonight to talk about immersive futures, a post-creation Africa Forum dialogue on emerging immersive tech trends and innovation across the continent. I had the opportunity of sitting with Prince and a few other reps on Monday to discuss what's basically happening here. The immersive future, okay? We're using tech, AR, VR to tell the African story, okay? What does it entail for somebody who doesn't really know much about what is really happening in the ecosystem right now? I'd want you to brief us on the current state. What is really happening right now?
So I think to talk about now, we'll go to the past a bit, right? And considering the tech evolution, when tech started, it was just on the computer. The computer were just bits and pixels, right? And then we had colors, and we experienced stuff on a 2D screen, like just on a 2D screen. Then the 3D technology came, also on a 2D screen with games like Wolfenstein, then Doom, then Quake. Then 3D games started evolving on PC, and PC hardware got better and better. Then it got to Steve Jobs announcing the phone, like the iPhone with accelerometer and gestures and all that. And then it rebooted again with games on a 2D screen. Then you can move around. And then there came the first headset, Google Glass, AR. Like, man is just trying to push experiences as real as possible, right? Internet coming, connecting people all over, created a certain digital space that people connected and lived within. Like Skype came to enable chats and all that. So the more that the world was getting connected, the more man also wanted to visualize and make it feel as real as possible. And that's where the technology is going. So immersive tech added up on the 2D surfaces that we've been experiencing, so that you can also experience and feel as part of the whole thing. So where the world is now is exploring immersive technology, making you feel part of the digital world, which we term as digital geographies. And what that does is, now we are also exploring holographic space, where now it's not just experiencing it that way, but you can also appear here. I think there's a prototype in my university now. There's a box where when you call in, you are projected in there, life size, and we see you in the holographic box. That is going to evolve for people to also appear at places. So where the technology is now is to bring the reality into the digital space. And as a game developer, when I started this, I was saying that gaming brings the second life, right? For you to design something, you can sell it digitally, right? People can buy this dress as on an avatar 10 times, right? And you make $10 out of this digitally, even without producing it to sell it in real life. So a whole life and business is happening in the digital world, which we are experiencing now, right? So the point here now is that digital tech has been pushed to a certain point that there is commerce happening, sales happening, communication happening, play happening, like a whole lot of things are happening. And now the immersion is also happening very fast, that's why the Leti Alpha Center was also created. And as these techs are being created and experienced, most of them are coming from the Western side. So a lot of heavy Western narratives in terms of animation, cartoons, games, all those things are narrative heavy, right? And Africa is at a point of realizing that has also become a digital form of colonialism. Like, we've been colonized digitally with content. My kids are asking for Cocomelon now. Whilst I've made other animations, you've made animations, right? But they are not seeing that. But it's not their fault. Because the skills gap is not here yet. So at this point, we are creating training programs to train people on those platforms. We are creating, most of us are self-taught. You are self-taught, I'm self-taught. Everything, like universities are now adopting game design and immersive tech as courses here for us to catch up very fast. So skills gap are being addressed. Content, the quality is being made better to appeal to people so that we can decolonize the digital colonization, and that is why we are all doing what we are doing. So these are all agencies that we've put in place to combat that, and I'm sure we are at a trajectory in the next 2 to 5 years. I'm sure Africa will be at a point that will be creating skill sets that are competent. People are writing new titles as VR experiences, game developers. I write game developer. I'm sure you are also writing, not CEO only, but you are writing some technical new title, not a lawyer or doctor, right? Everyone, you can call yourself a journalist, a digital journalist. So I think that's where we are now, and and Africa is catching up.
A very
fast.
beautiful overview, if you ask me. A round of applause for my man Ayram. Selassie, he's spoken about the current state, right? But is it the same for you here in Ghana? I mean, he's also here, but I want to find out from us, respectively, in our countries. Is this the state? Is this where we are? Are some far advanced? How are people receiving this new development, this new takeover? Is it the same, across the countries? I'll take it bit by bit from you. I'll start off with you, my brother.
I'll say that in Ghana, it's a gradual process.
Okay.
For example, when it comes to headset penetration, there aren't so many headsets compared to, you talk about Western nations, right? When you talk about know-how, right, as in like using immersive devices, there isn't that much experience, and that is one of the jobs as an immersive company, trying to let people learn and change mindsets and behaviors, right? Because using a VR device isn't so straightforward. I think in the development of Experience Africa, one key thing is we built a full-fledged VR experience, but when we took it to market, we realized that it was too technical for first-time users. So we had to break it down and build a light version that will make it easier for people to use, right? So there are those things. So we are kind of getting there, but of course, when you compare to again, Europe, America, there's greater advancement.
Far advanced.
So we have to do a lot of catch-up, right? And that is the reality on the ground, both catching up through the skill sets, catching up through device penetration, catching up through the infrastructure to support immersive experiences. Those are some of the things that we need to do to be on that level. Yeah, because if we don't do that, then we will end up in a space where we are not part of the creation of the story, but we are just consumers, right? And at some point, you can't participate anymore. Right, because when the technology goes too far beyond what you're capable of, at that point, how do you even partake in this whole immersive ecosystem, right? So that is that. But on the other hand, as well, it's very encouraging to see we talk about the Creation Africa Forum, seeing so many different companies across the continent attacking the problem from different viewpoints and from different angles. Right, in Ghana we have what's the name? PetSim. Yes. PetSim working to push XR in the mining petroleum industry. We are doing in real estate and education and stuff and we are all attacking the same problem from different angles. And the hope and belief is that over time we would be able to move fast enough to like try and be on the global standard. Of course, through like collaborations with other countries as well. Because another thing, it's really like we cannot really do this individually, even as countries, right? There needs to be that collaboration across borders to be able to like really compete on the global level as the African continent. So I think that we're behind, but with enough partnerships, collaboration, support, we could get onto that level to like compete globally.
Thank you so much, Selassie. Emmanuel, is it the same case in Uganda?
It's a little,
or the story is different?
A little bit different.
A little bit different.
But yeah, in Uganda, we're about a few startups and pioneers who have really been pushing it. Everyone has been pushing, experimenting, until a few works started to get out there. Yeah, but one thing I forgot to add at Keepers XR, we are building a community of creators because we are thin. So we realized we need more creators. So we have a few activities we are doing to just train a few creators and build a community so we can have more work getting out there.
Perfect.
Yeah, but also, just a small to add is, since I think Creation Africa and a few of these highlights, you can see a number of organizations like the embassy, the tourism board. There's an vocational institute has opened a VR lab. They are yet to bring in equipment, but agencies are now like picking interest. Yeah.
Bit by bit. That's beautiful. I hear the story from Uganda. Kenya, when it comes to technology, according to stats, if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. I think you guys are far advanced when it comes to the penetration of even internet, you know. What's the story in Kenya like right now with the immersive future?
Perhaps I'll highlight what my fellow panelists clearly articulated, and then I just wanted to talk about the intangible value of what's happening. There's a lot of paradigm shift. We're in a point of inflection right now, and there's a paradigm shift happening where business models are changing. People are thinking differently about these technologies. The policy framework is changing. So as much as there's this technical sort of gaps that exist or small wins that are happening, there's also a lot of psychological change that's happening. People are coming up. If you see on LinkedIn, you're seeing, like you clearly said, you're seeing more creative technologies, game developers, and they're getting very, for lack of a better word, confident about it. Because for once in Africa, we don't need a reference point to say something. I don't need to say I'm a doctor because there was a doctor in my family before. People are getting more confident because for once the story is being told in our own color. They can't see someone like Letty Arts doing this and partnering with the French government. This is really part of bilateral, multilateral agreements, looking at the policy framework of what's changing. So I feel like there's the intangible stuff. Even today, when you go to a bank and you want to get a loan as a creative business, there is banks that are supporting creative businesses in terms of how to de-risk finance. And when you look at wins, where you can be able to go into a bank and say, I'm a creative technologist and I want to buy X amount of holographic machines or do what? Yeah, it's funded. When we started many years ago, there was nothing like that. I think the funding was what we call the triple Fs, family, friends, and fools.
True.
Those are the only guys who would fund your businesses, right? So the intangible work is really where I see a lot of gain, because when we start changing our psychological sort of approach as Africans and realize that for many years there has been an asymmetrical relationship we've had with digital technology, where we've been consumers of it, but now we are producers, we are manufacturers, we are leaders within our space, but also looking at the broader macro system where even Europe and other places are opening up partnerships based on parity. It's not that they are coming saying that, no, I'm coming because I know. We are coming because we want to learn the African way and we want to share knowledge of how we do it in the European way. Tangibly, we're also seeing shared IP. You're seeing these guys are now, it's a huge distribution company, and Diversion is here with us having a conversation saying hey, I see what you guys are doing. I see there's a market there. So when we start tapping into exporting culture from a fundamental value chain perspective, then you see that businesses are not now just depending on grants and stuff. They're becoming more sustainable. So I try to really look at the intangibles of what's happening. And that for me, as someone who's been in this space for this long, is a win.
It's a big win. A round of applause for all of us. And I must put this in. I've gotten more than 7 of my answers already from the few we've said. I wouldn't want to go back to that, but Agatha, let me find out from you, okay? It's one thing that has been on my mind for a while. How can partnerships, and I think it's a language we've all spoken in our submissions, partnership, growth on each side, okay? How can partnerships and collaborations of this nature, okay, between France and African countries, through all that you've heard, accelerate innovation while maintaining cultural authenticity? You mentioned the fact that, you came down and you hear the African stories being told through what we're doing. How do we move it to the next level, or how are we moving to the next level through partnerships and collaborations like this?
For me, like the fundamental thing is context like this, like the encounters between the professionals of the same countries and of other countries and continents, for sure. So this is the basic. Can you repeat again? Sorry.
So the partnerships and the collaborations that exist, okay, how do we basically, how does it accelerate innovation? How does it make the African side stronger? How does it make the European, obviously, the Western side also stronger, as much as you're far advanced when it comes to the technologies and all that?
I think that the African professionals should take advantage of all, because yes, there is a difference if we think about France. France is a leader in this field, but only because they started before. They started earlier, actually. So there is a lot of skills and knowledge that France has collected. A lot of also, of course, support from the government from the beginning, which really helped France to become the leader that it is today. What we as Diversion, and I think many professionals in Europe, want to do is not to come and to teach anything to anyone, is really to share what we've learned during these 10 years, last 10 years. So the best practices, maybe also the mistakes that have been done, so that also the African professionals that started maybe a little bit later and still need maybe to find a structure and a network among them can take advantage of it. But I thought about Africa, but in Italy, for example, it's the same. So it's not Europe, Africa. It's really, yes, it's something that is really connected to the government of each country and the use that they do of the soft power of this industry also.
So we've spoken about the states, we've spoken about what exists in the various countries, how we're receiving the advent of immersive tech. I want us to round our conversation up with the ethical bit of it. What are some of the things we need to consider, the most pressing things? And I think I will take a spot from each of the countries. What are the pressing issues, things we need to tackle now to ensure that we have a smooth running of our dream, what we're trying to achieve, with all the development around, what do we need to do? What is that one thing that must be done? I'm going to take one from Uganda, Kenya, Agatha. So we're going to get 2 from Ghana, obviously. So I'll start off with you, Emmanuel from Uganda.
I'll share from, I think, our experience going to document an indigenous tribe that has sacred knowledge. I've seen conversations around what's sacred and do you take it and make it public. But from my experience, what we did is, I also forgot to add, is that as the Batwa led us through their forest and to film, they're kind of the directors of the film. They took us through their world and shared what they were comfortable to share with us. And so they had a role in this story of theirs. We didn't just go and get a story and come do a number of our own mixes. but we let them co-direct this film. But on the other ethics, I think that we're still learning from many other conversations and experts. But for that, I think that's one key thing I would share. Yeah.
Perfect. Brian.
Yo, heavy question. Listen, I still think as Africans we really need to look at digital sovereignty. Listen, as much as we are using some of these digital technologies, the landscape around who owns the intellectual property, who owns the information, is really lacking. Because as much as we feel like the policy landscape is changing in leaps and bounds, is still lacking because, unfortunately, a lot of economies in Africa are political economies. And these old dudes, sorry if some of them are here, these old dudes, they don't really get it. And the problem is, or the challenge, I was told not to say problems, but the challenge is that we are very complacent as people within the creative economy. We don't want to get into those roles to bring change. So there's an analogy that says that, let me try to get it right. As the forest was shrinking, the axe convinced the trees. Wait for it. The axe convinced the trees. He was smart enough to convince the trees that his handle wasn't made of wood. Do you guys get that? Like, he convinced the trees that his handle wasn't made of wood. They forgot he had the blade and he was cutting down the trees. That's really what's happening with our leaders. They've really tried to convince us that we are majority. By 2030, half of the world's youth population, statistically, between the age of 18 and 25 years old, will be in Africa. This is either going to be a delight to see this young workforce getting in, or a disaster. So for me, it's always about, as much as we are building, we need to be cognizant to who owns this data. That sovereignty has to sit with us. So when you go on the table, it's a table where you can be able to negotiate. And not negotiate because you're coming from a place of lacking. It's because you know legally where you're standing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for my brother Brian. Very bold statement. Aram.
Yeah, so for me, I think it's the skills gap.
Okay.
Like, we just have to upskill as many people locally into the new future technologies as fast as possible.
As fast as possible.
Because we are in a situation where, sorry to say, we have, I don't want to use the word, but we are...
Yeah. We are effed. I'll say for you.
and that is like a situation called platform colonialism. The platforms are not built here. Like, they are built somewhere, and Africa is always forced to participate. So internet originated somewhere. We are forced to participate, right? Computers originated somewhere. We are forced to use it. And that is what we call the digital. So now that we found ourselves forcing to use it, then we need to upskill as quickly as possible to be able to catch up and participate. But in doing that, we don't have to see it as the better. We have to appreciate our cultures, like what we have, and turn it in ways that that platform will now also understand it and colonize other people. So I tell my team that until the last Korean child or US child start mentioning Yasantua or mentioning some Timbuktu library, we are not stopping what we are doing, right? And at Letty Arts, we are all I tell them I'm self-taught. For a long time, with my co-founder is self-taught, Wesley Kirija, we started this out of nothing in 2009. Now, a university has taken our self-taught curriculum and is teaching it to universities, right, at that level. Though we've done it boot camp, now a university has established. So as an elective, the goal is to become a whole university at one point, but an elective is good enough to start with, right? Now that we also have boot camps that we are working with, this time, not beginners who want to learn. That, I think, a lot is happening around. We are now taking the professionals and the mid-level and upskill them because they are excellent photographers, excellent DJs, excellent journalists, programmers. How can we upskill them and show them that, hey, what you are good at, you can do it in digital. And this is how we can do it. And in doing that, let's pick our history and use your excellent skills as a photographer, and then let's make this digital historic experience a digital future content for people to consume. So for me, that skills gap is the first challenge in anything, not funding. Skills gap, once it's bridged, and the culture now understands that you can go and become a game developer and still build a skyscraper or invest or buy a whole continent, and then the infrastructures are also growing, funding will easily come and accelerate it. So let's fix that skills gap, and that is what I think we are doing at
Thank you very
Imensa
much.
Africa.
All these are calls for action. We'll take the next one from Agatha. Agatha, yours, and then we'll go to my brother Selassie.
Yes, I was thinking about ethical issues. There are many, actually, points of view that with which we can approach this. I was thinking mainly to the ecological point of view, for example. I don't know if at our stage, yes, we can do something. For example, at Diversion, we try to create Fab Lab at our office to reuse headsets that can't be used in public showcases or can't be sold to museums, for example, in festivals, to try to re-employ this kind of devices. But in a large scale, I would say that the change should come from the major big tech company that still produce, and they should actually look at the interoperability, yes, and versatility of the devices. Quest 3 did something like that. It means that with Quest 3 you can do VR, you can do AR, so it's easier also for the producers and creators, and also for the venues that showcase projects to to use these headsets in a versatile way. But in general, for me it's like the crucial problem of the company, of the sector. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Agatha, for your opinion. We're going to round this up with a very, very important question. How does the festival's mission connect to the goals of Immersa Africa, which is the boot camp? And what lasting impact do you both have? Wish to have on Africa's immersive ecosystem? We're talking so much about opportunities, all the things that are going to happen. But then with this specific boot camp that I'm told starts tomorrow, what are you looking at achieving? I'm going to take it from you, Aram, and then Agatha can speak on it so we can wrap up.
Yes. So I think I touched base on it with my last question, but my last answer. But the whole thing about this is to set the pace for what is going to happen at Immersive Africa. So Immersive Africa is the boot camp that is going to upskill mid-level to professionals to learn about immersive technologies from one of the best global companies who have partnered, one of the best local studios, to position these professionals to digitize cultural experiences and stories locally, so that they can be at that point to create enough content that we can use to be repopulating, just like how our brother has brought his content in there. To be skills ready to work in Dobinson, work in Black Rhino, work in Keepers, work in Diversion, and work everywhere, right? That is the purpose, and that is how this is going to go. And this is just a pilot. Next year is going to reach more people and bigger. And the center that we've opened is open to only African games and immersive experiences.
That's beautiful.
So imagine the content that we need in that center to keep it fresh, so that when people come there, they can play a FIFA that was made by a local African.
4 pools.
Not an EA Sport, 4 pools.
Or one Chindi.
You know, So that's the goal of the center, African experiences. And as we work together, it's going to expand. Dobinson is bringing domes. Imagine how much content Dobinson needs to put in those domes. Yeah. You understand? So Immerse South Africa is just a start. And I'll leave it for Agatha to also continue. But
yes. For me, I can consider my job well done once I will finish with the bootcamp if the participants will be really and sincerely inspired by what we share with them. Inspired and also like aware of the actual ecosystem and motivated also to continue in this path. And I would say also if they want to keep themselves receptive to the stimuli in general and to the encounters in general, meaning that maybe tomorrow, I don't know because I don't know the participants yet, but maybe they will come with an idea, a project, a format, like a very precise thing. I really would like to expand their frontiers, you know, of the imagination and of what they can do with these technologies.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for spending time with us here. It's been a very long one, but trust has been very insightful. I appreciate all the opinions. We're growing a movement that is very, very impactful. We are all looking forward to the change we've spoken about. We see it. It's going to happen. I'm happy that the boot camp is starting tomorrow, and as a Ghanaian journalist, I'm on standby to tell the good stories that will be shared here. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Rukundo, co-founder and creator, Keepers XR from Uganda. Brian, a founder, is CEO, Black Rhino in Kenya. Agatha Di Tommaso is from France, festival manager for Diversion Cinema. Selassie Awiti is the CEO, Dobison Ghana. And Mr. Aram Teria is the CEO, Letty Arts Ghana. A big thank you to Alliance Francaise for making this possible, to the France Embassy here in Ghana, to Letty Arts, all the partners who made this possible. It's been a wonderful evening. And thank you so much to our audience for sticking with us, for staying with us and listening to us have our conversations. We believe this has been very impactful. The conversation doesn't end here. We're live on, oh wow, hi. Hi to everyone at home. I didn't know. Okay, so we are live. Hello. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. We had a wonderful time. Then
the boot camp is happening at Letty Arts tomorrow.
Tomorrow, sharp. He had to add that. It's happening tomorrow. Come through. But let me just pick it off from you. Who and who are permitted to come through, apart from the African game developers? Who else can come through? Is it open to the public?
No. Okay, so the participants have been carefully selected.
Selected already.
We have our 15 participants already. Ideally, we are to mention their names here and announce them, but I don't know if they are still around. But probably before we end, you can still just mention the names just for us to adore them as the first cohort of Immerse Africa. But
perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for people watching at home, for all of you who showed up here. It's been a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. My name is Eskin. I'm on YFM. If you want to listen to me on radio, 9 a.m. to 12, Monday to Friday, make sure you catch me. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of the program. Mr. MZ.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Miss Austin on the music. Shouts going out to Ria Boss and Jawako. We're going to take pictures now. Ria Boss, the team, you guys can join us. Thank you. Pictures. Thank you, thank you, thank you.